Hey, I'm
Um,
Razorwind, and this is Anatsu Shirai, and we co-host the worst VTuber show on the internet, Schizzo Sessions. How are you all doing this evening? And
Razor
here
is
with us is
rushing me.
I wasn't rushing you. And then here we have our guest for tonight. Let me read this off here. Kiori Sarai, World War II themed VTuber, streamer known for his playful antics, political incorrectness, and a flair for bombastic shock humor. He is a licensed counselor from Singapore and the owner and founder of Healing Heart Counseling. Everybody, give a round of applause for our guest tonight. Even though I know this isn't you can't hear chat clapping. um,
It's all
Yeah.
in mindset,
Am I
brother.
supposed to have something there? Like, are we supposed to have like a live studio audience now? Is that what we're doing?
I need to note to self: get a soundboard.
And then I have to get a
Good.
soundboard, and everything's gonna be out of sync.
Oh, what the fuck? Chat's saying clapping is Singaporean butt cheeks. What the
Shout out
fuck?
Monty,
man?
no one asked you.
Oh, come on now. Anyway, so Kiori, go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you, and what style of content do you do?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Kiori Sarai at your service. I'm a World War II tactical VTuber. As Razor mentioned, I primarily specialize in, well, Hell Let Loose, Ready or Not, and 6 Days in Fallujah. I also commit war crimes on stream, whilst, of course, dispensing mental health care online, usually through my channel. And like he also mentioned, I'm also a licensed therapist by trade, licensed with the Singapore Association for Counseling, and I primarily specialize in trauma-informed care, anxiety disorders, and depressive disorders.
Excellent. Nice.
That's
So, let's see. So for those who in the audience don't know, because and this is so my mom is currently watching, and I believe my uncle is as well, and one of my cousins. So for those in the audience that might not know who are going to watch this VOD in the future, what is a VTuber, and how would you best explain it?
what is a VTuber and how would I best explain it? Do you want me to give the psychological perspective, or
I mean, you can give the technical explanation and the psychological if you'd like.
Oh Lord, there's got to be a bit difficulty. Well, essentially, a VTuber is either 3D or 2D model slapped together by an individual for the purpose of entertaining others. That is the first thing that comes to mind. But from a psychological perspective, it is the combination of two factors, that being the unconscious mind and the ego ideal. So for those of you who are not aware of the unconscious mind, it is the deepest recesses of the psyche. It's usually where unresolved emotions and past experiences are repressed, pushed to the back. And for the ego ideal, it is essentially the perception of how one ought to be, i.e., the perception of the perfect self, be it physically or, let's say, morally or value-wise. And the ego ideal is subject to change with influence. That is a VTuber from a psychological perspective. Well, if you want more specifics, a psychoanalytic perspective.
Okay.
Okay,
And how would
I just wanna say something real quick. Razor, I don't know how
Yes?
on earth you did it, but you managed to make just a generic file. Not a text file, just file.
I didn't have enough room.
On your PC?
Like just. No. It was because fucking Discord said you have too much text.
Okay. So that was Discord? I'm just like,
That
like...
was Discord forcing me to make a freaking text file for the production notes.
I'm just over here like, you know, like it's type is just labeled file. Nothing else.
I had a name for it. It was supposed to be production notes, but I guess it didn't save it. Because Discord sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm joking too much about background stuff. Anyways. I'm sorry.
All right,
I just got back from work.
Oh no, it's fine. All right, so how would you explain it then from a technical standpoint? Like,
either technical or tactical?
Technical. Like,
Technical.
like you personally, how would you describe it from a technical standpoint? Like, to someone who has no idea what a VTuber is.
One word: degeneracy.
I mean, yes, that is true. That there are a lot of people in this community that do happen to fall into that category.
Certainly
But
wrong.
I meant like, you know. Never mind. Essentially, a VTuber is just, you know, someone who uses a virtual avatar for anonymous
For the purpose of
purposes,
entertainment.
usually. Entertainment, and sometimes to keep their anonymity. At least that should be the point. But you know, you have idiots on Twitter keep showing their faces, and I'm sorry to say it, but you're just asking me to get doxxed by doing that. Anywho, who was your first VTuber, and what got you interested in the first place to stream when you were not counseling?
I wouldn't say there was any VTuber in particular that got me interested in the first place. And if I were to be honest with you, for the longest time, I never considered myself being a streamer. And if I were to be honest, I was actually against the idea.
What made you change your mind?
Coming across this new phenomenon called VTubing. And how I came across it was in an article, and not only an article, but also a YouTube video. There was a channel by the name of Uni. It's a VTuber vocal artist who sings, let's say, you know, classic songs like Hikari from Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So that kind of got me interested. And at the time, I was just out of my prerequisite qualifications, got my basic license then. So I was figuring out what I should do with my spare time, how to get my business off the ground. And well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you don't mind my stutters and murmurs from time to time. I do have Tourette's.
Oh no,
so
it's perfectly fine. I actually put a disclaimer up just in case.
Ooh, I should probably put that on there as well, actually. At least on YouTube and, you know, Twitch, because those could be the more sensitive platforms.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they can't hold that against Kiori.
Nah, that is fair.
Oh man,
they do. They're pricks for doing that.
Oh man, they already did it to me once.
Well, fuck
Oh,
them.
what?
It's like, what the fuck? the double standards of this damn platform, right? It's like, okay, a woman can't show a woman can't show shoulders, right? Shoulders.
A woman can show shoulders, a VTuber can't though.
Which is fucking weird. Yeah, so female VTuber can't show shoulders. You can let people say terroristic threats on here. That's okay for some reason for Twitch's moderation system. But if you have Tourette's and you have no control over it, it's just that doesn't make any sense to me. Anywho.
But I have a feeling that if you do the when you do the appeal YouTube or whatever, it's just gonna be like they're just gonna reply skill issue.
Oh dear God.
First, if I have to be honest, you need to have skills in the first place in order to have skill issues. I'd rather say it's called skill deficits. No skills to begin
Skill
with.
deficiency.
Yes.
Skill deficiency.
Yes.
I was born without skills.
Oh dear God. But yeah, Kiori, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, before we got off track there.
My apologies. So essentially, I came across a free program called VROID Studios, and I toyed around with it, went through 5 models before reaching Kiori. So I originally started off with a male model. That one was botched. Did a female model, botched back and forth until the 6th one, and I told myself, if the 6th one is botched, I'm not even going to bother. So the original Kiori was more 90s anime-like. 90s, early 2000s anime-like, best way to put it. And throughout the years, I've developed her into, well, what she is today. So,
To be fair, it is hard to make a decent male model. I mean, it took me a while before I finally got to where the way I like it. It's very hard to do.
God.
I agree.
But yeah. Shiroi, did you want to ask the next question?
Sorry. These are just killing me.
Oh no, it's fine. Allergies been killing me too. You're not alone.
What
Oh
got you
no,
in-
oh no, they're fucking insanely hostile. Oh no, you switched me over to the female model.
Oh, sorry. Line 19. What got you interested in counseling, and what was school like for your profession?
Okay, so I will have to bring in the religious because that is what actually paved the way for me to enter counseling in the first place. So I was a recipient of, let's say, a supernatural healing, and it was in the context of a church. I still remember the date. It was October the 11th, 2019. And I was not originally planning to enter counseling, but the best way to describe it is God had his hand in the way I was going to walk. he shut all the doors and opened up counseling for me. So I went into therapy and I excelled. So at some level, heal others as God has healed me. Essentially, give back to society, give back to those who also are not of the faith. That's the best way to put it. Heal others as I have healed you. Love others as I have loved you. That's what got me to counseling. I know it might sound forward, dude.
Oh no, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And I mean, honestly, faith is a very good motivator, especially for a profession such as counseling, because I'm going to be honest with you, it is a very thankless job. I feel like counseling is not taken as seriously as it should. Nowhere
These
near as
days,
seriously as it should.
I don't think it's ever been treated as well as it should be.
Mate, it is what it is.
Oof.
So, how many years have you been counseling? And, how many years have you been counseling for? And, what are your preferred methods of helping your patients?
I've been counseling for nearly 4 years now. 3.5 years, nearly 4 years. And the way I conduct my therapy sessions is, all right. For me, I use traditional psychotherapy, i.e., psychoanalysis, psychoanalytic psychotherapy, which is in the start of all other modalities, actually founded by Sigmund Freud. Then it broke off into Jungian psychoanalysis and Adlerian psychoanalysis. But for me in particular, I stick with traditional Freudian. So that is the foundation on which I help my clients. And it is predicated on the past having influence on how one behaves, thinks, feels, and acts. And that's usually due to repressed memories, repressed emotions that have not been fully addressed and or processed. So that is the foundation with which I work.
Interesting.
Secondly, I use CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And that is completely different from psychoanalysis. It is predicated on the belief that an individual's behavior, feelings, and issues are based on a set of cognitive distortions. Wrong thing.
Wrong thing?
So what? Yeah, that means you think wrongly. Thinking wrongly.
I thought wrong thing was like a more of a political term.
Well, best way to put it. So essentially what CBT does, goes out of its way to tackle these cognitive distortions by challenging them logically and rationally. But the only gripe I have with it is
The acronym.
if it was that easy for a client to change his or her mind, it would have been done, well, almost immediately. The thing is, it does not take into account the emotions. It does not take into account the past. It only takes into account the thought processes of the individual in the here and now, i.e. present. That for me is a big issue. But if you pair that up with a psychoanalysis, it makes a whole lot of difference. So, yeah, nah. Those two are my primary modes of counseling. But I also do a lot of visualization, guided imagery, to help with clients battling trauma. But that is usually done down the line. Because if you do that too quickly, you put the client at risk for re-traumatization. Now, visualization and guided imagery are meant to bring about peace, calmness, serenity. But there are therapists who uses visualization to help clients confront their past. Individuals and unresolved emotions on a psychological playing field, i.e. close your eyes. The therapist gives you certain prompts. The image comes to life. And the therapist walks you through it. And that actually does a lot. It helps build confidence, helps empower the client. It also assists the client in growing a set of teeth. And when I mean a set of teeth, I mean very, very sharp pairs of teeth, sir.
So helping the client go from being a very what would the word be? Reclusive or reserved, kind of like, shy, kind of a doormat kind of person, to being someone a little more assertive.
I think less fearful would be the right term to use. So usually persons suffering from trauma, they tend to have a lot of fear, hypervigilance, which you'll see in combat veterans. You also tend to see dissociations. And for those of you who are unaware of what dissociation means, it's essentially your mind divorcing itself from the present. And there are many kinds of dissociations, right? There's the ID dissociated identity disorder, where in one person you have a whole plethora of personalities. That means different individuals, different names, different genders, and different personalities, different characteristics, and different way of conducting themselves. That for me is like the end of the rope kind of deal when it comes to dissociations. It is considered one of the worst. They have dissociative amnesia, which is categorized into 3 subsections. But the worst form of dissociative amnesia is where you dissociate and your entire life is wiped. That means you can't remember anything.
Yeah, there's been a couple cases I've read about that where like people who have suffered trauma so bad that they just have complete amnesia just to as a way like the mind trying to protect them from it.
Jeez.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And I've also I remember hearing over the radio one time, so there's a show on Philadelphia radio called the Preston and Steve Show, and they have a segment called the Bizarro Files where they talk about weird shit that has happened in the past. And they were recalling this one case, and it was
Razor.
Oh, sorry, my mother just came in. She was just letting me know that the microphone was picking up my fan. I don't know if Chad, you could hear the fan. I know my mother sure
did. I
did.
don't hear much, but then again, Discord does have a pretty crazy what's it called?
So the
Nice
usual filter I have, the AI program that I use in the video broadcast, it's been crashing a lot on me and cutting out my mic. So I stopped using it, I think, last stream, which was like a day ago. And I might have to tweak my audio settings a bit more so it doesn't pick up the fan. I have there's really bad ventilation issues in my house, so like for some reason the AC cannot reach my room for some odd reason, even though like the vent is literally right by my streaming area and it gets like really hot and stuffy up here. I'll just probably crack open a window just for a little bit of ventilation. But what I was gonna say, there was a local radio show called the Preston and Steve Show, and they have a segment called the Bizarro Files about like they talk about weird shit, like weird cases and stuff. And one of the things they listed off, it was a Mexican race car driver who never spoke a lick of English in his life, never like left Mexico, never interacted with like any English-speaking people his entire life, right? 20-something years old. He got into a real bad car accident during a race. He hit his head so hard.
He started speaking fluent English.
Fluent English, and the way the paramedic said, he spoke like a monotone American news anchor. Just kind of like, "Hi, I'm Pedro. I hit my head really hard. Ow,
Sounds like
it
a
hurts
Twilight
real
Zone
bad."
episode.
Yeah, I know, right? And like,
Just you hit your head so hard, you
people were
start speaking
baffled.
another language.
It had medical experts absolutely fucking
The
baffled.
guy couldn't even speak
like,
Spanish anymore. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, it was crazy. And he was like that temporarily for about like 10, 15 minutes. And then he went back to speaking, like, acting like his normal self, speaking Spanish.
It's essentially
crazy shit. Yeah. Now, would you say that's a psychological issue, or do you think that's more of a neurological phenomenon?
more along the lines of neurological.
Okay, then. Sorry for derailing the conversation there.
No worries, you went.
But yeah,
I admit I'm kind of struggling to zone in myself, honestly.
No, it's
No
okay. I
worries.
know you've worked all day. I'll be the brain cell we both share. Let's see.
Amoeba.
We'll play ping pong with the brain cell going back and forth. Anyway, so I feel like this next question's irrelevant, so I'm going to skip that one because you already answered that technically earlier about what areas of mental health you treat.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say, as a VTuber, you how are you using the technology behind the medium to better help your patients? And I found this very fascinating, by the way.
Right.
And so did my mother.
So essentially, like I mentioned earlier, we need to first understand the VTuber model as the culmination of two factors. That being the unconscious mind, that means repressed emotions and experiences. Then we also have the ego ideal, which is the perception of the perfect self, how one ought to be physically, intellectually, and in terms of value. Right. And when it comes to psychoanalyzing an individual based on a VTuber model, it is between 65% and 95% accurate. Not sure if... Hold on. Razor.
Yes.
What we should do is send you a DM via the group chat very quick.
Okay. What are you sending me here? Alright, I'll just wait for you.
That's what I wanted.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
don't care,
You have my permission. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you this. He's very spot on. It's pretty scary, actually.
Yeah.
According to you both, what percentage of accuracy would you give the reading from a psychoanalytic point of view?
Oh, I would say you were, for me. Oh, I would say you were definitely like 90% spot on.
Yeah, I'd say a solid 90%. Kinda got quite a bit out of me with, yeah. Read me pretty well there.
So essentially, we also view VTubers from the perspective of Carl Jung, i.e., symbols. Everything has a meaning to it. If you were to look at a Razorwind's model, for example, we have blue hair, kind of bleeding into purple, bit of a gradient, always holding on to his rifle at the ready. The body vest down to the tattoos and the scar across his face. That alone can give a general reading, but a very damn accurate one as well. And the way I go about doing this is through understanding the relation between certain images, colors, gradients, in relation to human reactions. For example, Razor, let's say you have a very dark blue fading into a violet purple gradient. What is the first thing that comes to mind?
I mean, I don't have it fade to purple. It's more of a fade to black,
All right.
more of a dark
Yes.
blue. But I mean, I mainly picked it because I like blue. It's my favorite color. But if someone were to see that, they'd probably be like, "Oh, he's someone who definitely has a maybe emotional baggage. Maybe they have a not
That is fine.
necessarily a dark personality, but you get what I mean. Like definitely
Yes, definitely. So, usually when we see a dark blue color, it is usually indicative of depression. But if it fades into a purple, that means there is still hope. It's like a dreamlike state. They still have dreams, they still have aspirations. But if it's usually blue, like straight up, and sometimes fading into black, like Razorwind said, that means it's usually at the end of one's rope in terms of depression. But it's not just hair colors that determine the person's character behind the model. We have to also look at the heterochromia, iris, pupils, the iris colors. No, sorry, pupil colors. The facial features, eye slants. Is it tilted upwards or downwards? Eyebrow position, nose position, mouth position, and the body type, bust size, hip size, down to the gender of the model. Trinkets, for example. All right, so let us say we use Shiroi's hairpin over there. Right, she's wearing a hairpin on her model. If it was a star, let's say the hairpin is star, right? That is usually indicative of two things. One, it is indicative of the person wanting to be the center of attention. Not to say narcissistic, but it can also mean aspirations, a dream that is far out of reach. That means they actually want to go somewhere but don't have the means to do it. This is the first step in how I help people utilizing their VTuber models. And my threats are bad today. I do apologize, guys.
oh no, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry.
So-
Take it
Is
easy.
it a little? Are you tired or?
Long story already.
There's no need to apologize.
Let's just say a father had an fall yesterday, and I had to help him out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he's doing all right, lah. He's a trooper.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, pops, if you're watching this, eh? You're a legend.
Old people are always
Diana.
tough.
You know,
Yeah, they usually are.
but But yeah, sometimes my father tune into the podcast I'm on, and he's really supportive. An absolute legend. But anyways, I do apologize. Back to the topic regarding how many people are out using VTuber models. So one of the foundations of psychoanalysis is to bring the person to a realization of why they are the way they are. What are the reasons behind their behavior, their thought processes, their feelings, the way they're acting. So using an individual's VTuber model for that purpose really helps, especially when you dissect it really slowly for the individual. But that does take some time because even though you give everything to the client in one go, i.e. the reading based off their VTuber model, that does not equate to dissecting it in order to help the client understand more about himself or herself. So that is step 2. Step 3, once the emotions are dealt with, once any trauma are dealt with, the end goal is to bring the client into accord with himself or herself through the visualization of his or her model. Now, the thing is, the model is an intimate reflection of the individual. You chose the artist to do the work for you. You chose the color schemes, the gradients, the clothing, the gender. Everything has its meaning.
True. No, it is true, and it plays a big part. I mean, the VTuber model, the character is very much a reflection of the streamer's personality.
Yes, sir.
And it's really meant to be like a reflection of who they are.
Almost a truer reflection than who you are in real life.
That's very true.
If not,
And a bit
perhaps
too
just
damn
a
accurate as well.
truer one.
I mean, what I do like about VTubing itself, it's the character is definitely like a vehicle to as a delivery. You know what I mean? As a vehicle to better express themselves without them being judged by their own appearance behind the character. And I think it gives people a lot more confidence, and it's definitely given a lot more talented people more agency to express themselves.
Maybe they ever get
Well,
a
at the same time,
redesign done,
keeping
I'll
their
ask you
anonymity.
again to take a look.
Fair
Yeah.
point.
Actually, that is a
Yeah.
good question. When people
Do
get
you-
redesigns, do you think that affects it at all? Like the changes, like, you know, like a change
It
in
is still-
mental state to be represented, or?
It is still a direct reflection of the individual.
Well, I know that. I'm thinking more like,
And it does reflect changes to the individual. But how much change are we talking about? It all depends. So let me give an example already. There was actually a VTuber, a female VTuber, right? Modest as hell, down to earth. She got a redesign, went full on skinned, flesh out everything.
Jeez.
That alone tells me one of two things, right? Her confidence got completely dashed. Whatever reason. Or that was her level of confidence to begin with. She has always been that way. One of two things.
So,
Even minor changes can give clues into what the person behind the model is going through. Anyways, I do apologize. You were saying,
oh yeah,
Shira?
so
Oh, no,
were
fine.
you talking about the redesign represents the change in the person having lost confidence, or the initial model was that?
The initial model exuded confidence. With the model superseding that, screamed, I want attention. I have no confidence. Look at me, love me. And usually when you see VTuber models, you know, those who are scantily clad, and I know a lot of people are going to flack me for this. It is usually indicative of familial issues, number one. It is also indicative of issues with confidence, low self-esteem, inferiority complex. And it is also related to how much you really want to please others. So there are a lot of these things that need to be taken into consideration when you look at scantily clad models.
I'm talking about the more lewd streamers.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I didn't know there was so much to it all.
I mean, if you think about it,
To be fair, it can actually get much worse.
Like how much worse?
We're talking about sexual abuse in childhood.
oh dear God, yeah, that is pretty bad.
Yeah, that is pretty.
Yeesh.
Domestic abuse.
It's
And
life sometimes, though.
yeah, no.
Unfortunately, and a lot of people end up in that type of who do that type of entertainment. Usually, it is a result of some type of past trauma.
Yeah, and let me tell you, man, the effects childhood essay has on an individual is, pardon me for saying this, it's to a degree irreparable. What I mean by that is the trauma is carried on for life. And it has got me to think about the relationship between crime and punishment. What is murder? You know, is the concept of murder solely related to the corpus? I mean, is it solely exclusive to the corpus, i.e., the physical body? Or can it be extended to the psyche? And the questions branch out even further. What constitutes psychological murder? At what age do you determine psychological death? Is it the inability to socialize? Is it the inability to get a job? Is it dissociations? Is it the inability to discern between the different types of relationships? Because that is also another issue people suffering from complex trauma face. Comprehension issues. Mental retardation, like that is actually a thing. And when it comes to childhood trauma, it's not merely psychological, it affects the brain physiologically. The hippocampus is one of those areas, the frontal cortex is another area, and let's just say they kind of get locked in place. They don't really grow out of that initial stage of development. So, personally, I do believe murder can be extended to the psyche, and persons who are found guilty of childhood essay need to face the gallows.
I agree.
Yeah.
For that having
Yeah,
been said,
I have no sympathy for predators of any kind.
Yeah, same.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Like a lot of guys in the veterans community say it all the time. Wood chippers for sex offenders.
My good, so you know what we call that? Chipping Dale, quite literally. Chipping Dale. Chipping Dale.
Oh God.
It's going. It's going.
Oh dear God. So what I also wanted to
I don't know.
so next question I wanted to move on to here is, so you have an agency called Healing Heart Counseling. So what exactly is your main objective with that, and what would be the approach with Healing Heart in terms of therapy?
The main objective of Healing Heart Counseling would be to provide affordable therapy, quality therapy, with a humanistic approach, touch, and the best way to describe our mission would be to do whatever we can within our capability to help those who are pretty much at their wit's end, i.e. end of the rope. And the majority of my cases reflect that. And what I mean by that is combat veterans, especially those who have been cheated on by their wives while on deployment. Takes their children away, the alimony, the house. They're left to rot, forgotten by the government. VA doesn't do jack shit.
Unfortunately, it's very common. I know a lot of good men who've been screwed by the system. And
For me,
My grandfather
sorry,
nearly
you-
lost a foot just because they didn't care.
that's what I mean. So,
Jesus.
usually when I talk about this, my threats tend to act up a bit more.
Oh no, it's fine. If you want me to move
99999.
on to a lighter topic, we can.
Nah, there's no need to.
Okay.
Because I believe This is something that has to be heard. A lot of people tend to think that just because you're a man, you need to tank through the shit solo. And just because you're a veteran, it means we shouldn't help you. Nah. If you give your life for your country, it is incumbent on society and the government to repay you for your service and the sacrifice you have made. And I think that's also a problem with therapy as well. Of course, they do help with dealing with the emotions, but it's more of a systemic issue that is perpetuating the shit going on behind veteran mental health and mental health in general. And the reason why I'm saying it's systemic is because it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you have a woman who divorces the husband and while he's away, elopes with another guy, and the courts are in favor of her despite expert testimony siding with the husband, what message does that send? You cannot trust the judiciary. You cannot trust women. And you cannot trust society. It's a betrayal to the sacrifices you have made in the service of your nation. And also, that's also one of the reasons why... Wait, I'm sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just saying I agree.
That's also one of the reasons why I give former veterans, those who have actually fought in war, i.e. Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, whatever, or let's say Singapore national servicemen who sign on special discount because they already done so much. I feel scummy if I were to charge them full price.
Yeah, then that's very noble of you to do because
So,
honestly, people seem to think that service members have a lot of money. They really don't. And the thing is, like,
it's hard to find a job soon after.
oh yeah,
Why would
and
anybody
like
think that service members have like a lot of money?
they don't. I mean, you've heard it time and time again in a lot of like movies and TV shows where the guy says, the soldier's like, "Hey, move it! They're not paying us by the hour. Literally, we don't get paid by the hour. When I was in, you were paid for every other hour, which is bullshit." But
Dang.
That's it.
yeah, and you know, it's funny. It's just like, despite all the dangers soldiers deal with, just service members in general, they get paid the least. They're one of the most underpaid professions in the world. And that's why, sadly, a lot of these soldiers, a lot of these service members, right, they come back home, they come back to the civilian world, and it's like a reverse culture shock for them.
The thing
They
is,
they change so much from the
It's like
training
being in
and the
prison,
experiences. Yeah. I mean, they changed so much from the training, from the experiences that they had away from home, being exposed to a completely different... Because, like, the military is a completely different world compared to the regular world. I mean, even down to the judicial system. Like, in the military, the military judicial system, you are guilty until proven innocent, not innocent until proven guilty. And it's also a lot harsher. And it's also very, very backwards. If you think the civilian judicial system is corrupt and bullshit, oh my god, the military justice system is even worse. Because here's the bullshit part. The higher the rank you are and the more years you've had in, the less punishment you receive. So, yeah, the lower the rank and the less years you've been in, the more your punishment's going to be. I have witnessed non-commissioned officers getting away for things in the civilian world that would have them thrown in fucking jail. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely insane. Meanwhile, I'll see a junior enlisted get just harsh sentencing that a civilian would, get, for things that would be like a minor offense in the civilian world.
I agree.
It's insane. It is insane. I mean, a lot of service members can back that up for me too. I have seen service members. I've seen people in my National Guard unit who were on vacation and they got sunburn and they came back and they still had sunburn, and my readiness NCO wrote them up and reprimanded them, and they had to like sign a counseling statement. Basically, not as in counseling for therapy, but counseling as in disciplinary, because they got sunburn, because they were damaging government property. Because when you sign that contract, and I'm going to tell every young man and woman watching this, read the fucking contract before you sign it, because they don't tell you everything. I learned until after I got in, after I went to basic training, the Constitution does not apply to you during your time in service. You can be denied of basic constitutional rights at any moment.
Yep.
I've been denied to go to church as a punishment. I shit you not.
Dude,
for a bullshit
that is
punishment.
messed up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. In basic training, this happened. It was a simple mistake because it was miscommunication with my fellow soldiers in basic training. I wore the wrong kind of shirt to a PT test. There was no communication. It was me and a few other people actually had the wrong type of shirt. So it wasn't just me, it was several people. And they were like, yeah, so you can't go to church this week.
That is really messed up.
I was so pissed off. I was so fucking pissed off. Like, I get it. If one person is wrong, you're all wrong, right? I get it.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's like denying someone the ability to practice their faith is fucked up, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's unbelievably
And
messed up.
that's one of the things that had me very disillusioned. One of many things that really made me not want to go back.
My personal perspective on the denying, I don't think that some people just don't understand how significant one's faith is to them. Like, it's one of those things where, like, in those times of your life where things are just really difficult, you know? Those really difficult moments of your life. Your faith is sometimes the only thing that you have.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is one of the issues I take with our government and the way our military is being run. I really do think there needs to be a restructuring, because holy shit, it is so fucking ass backwards.
Yes,
It's ridiculous. Like, people think I'm lying when I tell them stories like that, like people getting reprimanded for getting fucking sunburn,
and you know
or
why?
people being denied religious services.
You know why people think you're lying?
Oh, because they never experienced it themselves.
There you go.
I have arguments with my own father, who
They're
doesn't
so-
believe half the shit I say.
They're too idealistic.
They think
I mean,
that,
for me,
yeah.
Like
I'm
like
sorry,
my
Sean,
father will
but-
be like, "Well, how do you know that isn't normal? You've only been in for a few years." I'm like, "And how would you know? You've never been in." One service member put it best. It's like living on the moon for years and trying to explain to people what life is like on the moon without taking them to see what life is like on the moon. Which is, I'd say, is a pretty damn good analogy. It's a completely different world. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to make
Hey,
that
I'm
tangent.
not gonna give
but,
you that one. Heck, from what you described there, I'm almost half expecting there to be a part in the contract that says attempting to read this contract is considered an act of treason or something.
Yeah, and Alexios just mentioned something in chat, and that I'm just like, what the fuck? He said, my grandfather witnessed a guy getting stabbed when he was in the army. He had to testify against the assailant in a quote-unquote damaging government property court-martial.
Excuse me, what?
I believe it. The military is such bullshit, I believe it.
Dude, that is this, like, I don't know
Again,
words. I don't know
military
words for
justice
how...
system is fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. It's insane.
I have no words for how unbelievably messed up that is.
And I'm going to say this right now. So, the Army has their own equivalent of the NCIS, which are like, the feds that deal with, like, internal affairs with the Navy. The Army has something similar called CID, and I'm going to say this right now. If you're a CID agent and you're watching this, I'm sorry, but fuck you. You guys go way too fucking far the majority of the fucking time, and you've made life a living hell for a lot of fucking soldiers. Fuck you all. I get it. You guys are a necessity, unfortunately. But at the same time, fuck you guys. Anyway.
I don't blame you
That
for
was
that one,
beautiful.
Fraser.
That was one of the most beautiful songs I heard coming out of your mouth, Razor.
It's
Yeah,
gross.
necessary evil, unfortunately. You kind of have to have organizations like that within an organization to keep it in check, but I'm going to be honest with you. From what I witnessed during my time in the military, and I'm not trying to badmouth it as an institution, but, like, there are good people there, but goddamn, the people on top are so fucking corrupt. And are so fucking just incompetent. It needs an entire restructure, but the problem is there is so much red tape. And anything in the military takes forever to fucking fix. But yeah. Sorry. Tangent aside. Next question I wanted to ask is oh, Kiori's tracking. Oh, it's back now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Do you feel that the use of VTuber technology, do you think it'll play a much bigger part in counseling for those with trauma and neurodivergent disabilities such as autism?
Alrighty, so for neurodivergent disabilities, I will not be able to comment because I'm not specialized in that area. But for trauma, I say yes. And for me, I've actually been using it for some time now. With a person's battling trauma. And the way I use it is, as I mentioned earlier, dissecting the model for the person to help him or her understand himself or herself better. Bringing the client into accord with himself or herself. Through the visualization, guided imagery of his or her own model. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention. There's something I wanted to mention earlier that I haven't managed to tell the guys about. So, the bringing oneself into accord with that part of his or her life is traditional psychoanalysis. And what that does is it essentially makes the person whole again. Essentially coming to peace, terms with a painful part of his or her experience, and to learn from it and to grow from it. So that is the way I use VTuber models in helping my clients. Now back to your question on whether I can see VTuber models helping out with trauma. Yes, definitely. And let's say if I'm, counting someone in investment of a VTuber, it serves as a grounding technique. Well, not really a grounding technique per se, but it serves as a form of grounding for the client. And how does it ground the individual? One, when you're traumatized, the last thing you think about is a VTuber model. Then we also, yeah, exactly. The last thing you think about is an anime girl or an anime guy.
That's true.
And just that anomaly alone helps with grounding the individual in the present. And not only that, there is also a certain flexibility to the way you can present your model as a therapist. The majority of combat veterans I've helped requested that I wear my VTuber military uniform. They usually preferred the camouflage, not really the World War II. And it helps.
It gives them a sense of familiarity.
Precisely. Oh yeah. Can I make a request? Are you able to get me a can of Asahi for my desk?
I could try and look for one real quick for you.
Thank you, darling. I need my Asahi.
Let me see if I can get sake. So sake and
No, Asahi. Asahi. Beer.
okay, let's see here. Here we go. All right, let's see if I can. Let me change the drink.
Sorry.
I do apologize for this. It's a very odd request.
Oh no, it's fine, Shira. I know you're tired. There you go. Oh god, that's a big ass can. Holy shit, that's like an Australian beer can times 2. There you go.
It's here.
Oh, fuck it. I'm allergic to sake, but hey, why not? Thank you, my good sir,
Here.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's
For
a
for your
Japanese.
generous
Right.
contribution to the
So what
yori.
is it? A Japanese beer?
No. This is sake.
It's a sake in a can.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
I sent you the PNG, Shira, if you want to change it on your end. But yeah, the reason why I also asked about like when in terms of like people with autism, someone explained to me, and it makes perfect sense. Someone who specializes in dealing with people with autism, and they're explaining.
Hi.
You know why a lot of autistic people they really enjoy cartoons, and they explained to me, people with autism have a very hard time reading facial expressions.
That is
And-
true.
Cartoon characters or anime characters are very easy for them to read because their expressions are very big and exaggerated. So it's easy for them to pick up. And I feel like VTuber, like using a VTuber model in a face-to-face like therapy set, well, not face, you know what I mean, a video therapy session would definitely help someone with neurodivergence or autism because it'll be easier for them to probably feel more comfortable talking to the therapist and expressing their feelings and what they're dealing with.
That is definitely something I should look into.
Yeah. I honestly, I feel like it would definitely help because, like, I have family members who have autism. You know, I have a little bit of Asperger's myself, although they don't call it Asperger's anymore. Now they just say, "Oh, you're just high functioning." And I didn't get the diagnosis until after I got out of the military.
Really?
I'm surprised I didn't get the diagnosis beforehand. It was
never
funny
got
because I was in an
diagnosed.
outpatient program, and they were like, "Yeah, so Razor, have you ever thought about you might have autism?" And they had me take a test, and then they're like, "Yeah, you definitely have." And I'm like, looking back at everything, and I'm like, you know,
You do
That
like
explains a
you do like
lot.
trains a lot.
oh god, what do you get a
I,
comment about that?
Easy job. Low hanging fruit's my specialty, Razor.
I can feel my Chineseness kicking in, Shirai, after that one.
Oh dear god. Kuro just said in chat, all men like trains. I mean, most men like trains, I guess. It's either trains or trucks. It's funny. There was this meme, and it's actually pretty true. It's like, men will grow up with one of these four things, and they will make it all about their life. And it was trains, dinosaurs, trucks, or military stuff.
Dinosaurs are
Men are
rad.
simple creatures. Men are simple creatures. We need very few things.
We see
We
big
need-
machine that can move big heavy things, and it just attracts that unga bunga part of our brain. We're like,
It also really
ooh,
went-
big shiny machine that pollutes.
When you see that, the first that comes to mind, that is fucking awesome. I want somebody that.
Yeah, pretty much. But I will ask real quick here. So if someone were to want to like book an appointment with Healing Heart Counseling, how would they go about it?
There are actually two ways to go about doing it. One of which is through my website. And you can find that on my Twitch channel. It's under the, if I'm not mistaken, at one moment.
And I'll post the link in chat in case anyone's curious.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Actually, I think I have your page still open.
I'm Dutch.
All right, I'm gonna post this in the YouTube, or not the YouTube. Well, actually, it'll be relayed to the YouTube chat because I have a thing that has it so that YouTube can read Twitch and Twitch can read YouTube.
That's interesting.
I'll post it. Yeah, I have it's a relay bot. It's actually really cool. So that's Healing Heart Counseling. I'll pin it in the chat. So if you're interested, if chat's interested, they can click on that and see if they want to, if they or someone they know needs therapy.
Yes, so true.
Alrighty. So
Oh yeah, there's one more
We-
thing.
yes.
If any of you guys
Huh?
want my license number for the SAC and my real name, do not hesitate to ask me. Drop me a DM via either Discord or Twitch, and I'll see what I can do to help you out.
And I will say this, and I will confirm this. I have seen his credentials. He is the real deal. You're not getting scammed. I'm going to let you know that right now.
He is not a fine curry salesman.
Oh, dear God. We are going to get in so much trouble.
What are you talking about? The curry salesman, my honorable lady.
Oh, oh no. Oh, God. Okay, please. Oh,
I'm
no.
sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't.
Very, very
Um,
sorry. Anyways.
Dear God. All right. So now we're gonna go on to the more serious questions.
Alright.
I know it was already pretty serious, but we're gonna get a little more serious here. So,
Hit me.
as a counselor,
Yeah.
what do you feel is the biggest mental health problem right now that humanity is facing as a whole in this modern day?
Mario. Isolation.
Yeah, isolation is definitely a big problem. I have noticed a lot of people isolating. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm guilty of that myself.
No. Not solo isolation. I'm talking more along the lines of being isolated from community. People nowadays, when you go outside, the first thing you see is everyone's on their phones, looking down,
It's bad.
and you see infants in prams rocking. What?
An iPad. I've seen kids with iPads, and I look at that and I'm like,
Let me share with you what that does neurologically. You guys have the propensity to use the term brain rot rather often, and it literally rots the brain.
It's an actual
it does.
phenomenon.
it affects these kids' ability to
like I'm
affect
pretty sure even in
objectivity.
neurology, yeah.
That's where I'm about
it's a
to get
legitimate
to.
thing. Like actual effects on the
It's-
brain.
Synaptic pruning. Your synapses are cut. And it never grows back. Your gray matter dies out. And the effects are likened to that of meth and cocaine addiction.
I can believe it.
And not only that, intelligence drops, critical thinking drops, mood disorders rise. And
I noticed
social media,
that a lot with the children today and teenagers.
Yes.
It's pretty bad. Like, I have seen young coworkers.
Now, is
in
this
previous
specifically
jobs.
in the developmental years, or is this just across a person's entire life?
That is a good question, actually.
between so the key developmental years, if I'm not mistaken, I between the ages of 2 and 5, that is when children should be playing with one another.
And not with a screen.
Yes, they
I
should
agree.
also be raised by their parents.
And not by the iPad.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
another
when
thing.
the most damage is done. That is when the
Alexios-
most damage is done.
Alex
There
says
you go.
something really good here. About he tried to get a student to put their phone away and they got really hostile. Addiction.
No matter
I
what
can
you
believe
do, no matter what you do,
Crippling
you can't do anything. But the thing is, this kind of addiction can technically destroy a country. If I have to be very honest,
How are you
Because
doing
this-
it?
I'm curious about how this is all going to develop in the long term.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Our generation are gonna grow up without a brain. They are spoon-fed information with, let's just say, a finger of God, even though it's not really the finger of God, but it's more like everything you want is at the fingertips.
Yeah.
You want it, you just look it up, there it is, you're knowledgeable. But knowledge is not merely predicated on regurgitation and academia. Intelligence is predicated solely on the ability to think, to innovate.
A little bit of everything all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, that song
You
from Bo Burnham, "Welcome to the Internet," very, very
it
accurate.
hits very different. Like,
I mean, that chorus when he says a little bit of everything all of the time. Apathy is a tragedy, and boredom is a crime.
yeah, no, it's extremely just.
Oh,
It is bad. Like, you got a lot of these younger people, like, and I'm not trying to sound like an old man trying to lecture like a child here, but like, the '90s kids were the last generation of kids to really like go outside, use their imagination, play with other kids, play with toys.
One
exactly.
one thing that I really think that, like, is something of a responsibility of ours, like, as a generation. I genuinely think we have a responsibility to, like,
Race.
get away from this stuff and raise the next generation to, like, be capable. Because one of the things that I've noticed that has actually had me legitimately concerned about all of this,
Hi.
and this may seem a bit strange to say, but people have begun domesticating themselves.
They have.
For lack of a better way to put it, they're domesticated now.
And the other issue is too, you have these corporations, you have these oligarchs, these billionaires,
And
and
they want it. They genuinely want it.
they're encouraging it. They're encouraging it. I mean, look what they're doing through marketing. Look at what they're doing with the products that they're making.
No, like,
And not even they know what the consequences are for these things, and they're still pushing them out. I mean, look at the crap they put in food now.
No, it's a genuine. I know a lot of people will probably roll their eyes. It's a genuine conspiracy.
Oh no, it is. No, like the corporations purposely want to keep you stupid and docile
Yeah, because,
so they can fuck you over better.
well, no, because they want you dead.
Oh yeah, they want you dead. But the thing is,
You
like,
are the carbon they want to reduce.
and then you have the children, right? They go after the children
They go after the children,
so that
especially
they have
because
a
their parents
replacement
aren't
for the
around.
customers
Because
they
the
killed.
public school system is just a front by the federal government to commit a genocide of all Americans, basically.
Okay, simmer down there. Simmer down there, tinfoil hat lady.
You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Let's not show our power level too much now, or else the feds will come up with the black bags on our heads.
All I have to say to them is fuck them to the moon and call them Sally.
I'm just,
Oh fuck.
I'm just saying.
But no.
it's-
Then you got the housing issue going on now. You got these
You're not allowed
weird,
to
like,
notice.
I don't know if you ever taken a look at the World Economic Forum. They're fucking talking about this shit, like putting people in smaller, more cramped housing. And you notice that there's been a push for like these shows that are trying to like glorify living in a tiny home.
I'm gonna be honest,
They,
as somebody
they,
who's
they're
done
trying
RV
to
life,
get people to
Sorry.
settle for less.
To be fair, if
I
I were
have
to be
done
honest,
RV life, and I just want to say, it's for some people. I am not
It's
that
not for
type of
everybody.
person. It's not for the homebody like me. Somebody who doesn't really like to leave the home too much. I can't do much because of it. And I admit I have issues, you know, I have problems. But it's like, I don't recommend this as a lifestyle. Mainly just if you're somebody who can't handle confined spaces. And this past winter really opened my eyes to a lot of the issues that I'm dealing with, you know?
Yeah.
yes,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like this whole
Remember, never forget what they've stolen from you.
oh, I know, especially during the COVID years.
but
Not
But,
even just the COVID years. Before you were even born, they were stealing from you.
It's true. I mean, shit.
can I be
like,
honest?
a lot of the taxes and shit that we're dealing with in America are the fucking result of Woodrow Wilson.
I was born carrying a debt I could never pay off. Man, this got really heavy all of a sudden. Good.
Yeah, it did. No, I mean, we are getting into the heavy stuff here, though, with
Next
the questions.
topic. How about I crack open that vodka? Or that'd make it worse.
Oh, that might make it worse.
I have a question.
Yes.
Eh.
Where do you see America in 30 years' time?
It's dead.
Um,
The only thing
honestly,
left-
right now,
Then after this, I still want to go back and talk about, you know, the biggest issues society is facing in terms of mental health. So, you first.
I see a nation where the boomers are dead, of course, at this point. They'll probably be dead in like the next, 20 years or so. And then we'll have such a massive power vacuum with basically you'll end up in a situation where, like, at the very least, like, politically speaking, you know what I mean? Everything is so difficult to figure out how exactly it's gonna be because there are so many different what's the word? Our nation is run by old people. Isn't the average age 70 or something in Congress right now?
I mean, you do have younger politicians who are in their 30s and their 40s, but the majority of them currently, the ones in the biggest positions of power, the ones that have the most sway right now over everybody, are people in their
They're
60s,
people
70s,
so
and 80s.
old as dirt, who will never get to experience what they have created. They have created a machine for suffering that everyone other than them will have to experience.
That's
And I want to believe in something better. I genuinely want to believe in something better. But it's something that at the same time is very difficult too, because I look at the world today and I see the same mistakes. Everybody's so obsessed with their own stuff, so obsessed with their own success. Can't just be happy making something, doing something. You're going through your entire life.
Yeah, I mean,
You're stealing from the next generation just like they stole from us.
The best way to put it is wallowing in vanity, living in vanity, and worshiping vanity.
Can we just Can we just accept it? You know, this is the world that we were given, and let's just say that we want to fix it.
I will
No
say
more
this.
debts, no more of the other stuff. Let's be the generation that didn't have health care to begin with. Let's be the generation that'll die the moment that we get a single cut, just so that somebody else doesn't have to feel it. Let's freaking just let's
Damn,
be the
Gerard.
generation that suffers.
Are you being serious here, or are you
Yes,
joking?
I am being serious. Let's be the generation that suffers, the generation that goes through all of the pain so that nobody else has to feel it. And then, when the next generation is coming up, we drill it into them what we went through. We let them know what the people that came before did, and we remind them that we need to break the cycle. It's been
Well, that's
going
what
for
happened
too
with the
long. Ever
Well,
since
here
the
was the
boomers.
problem. Sure, here's the problem, right? So the greatest generation, they had seen an America that was at the bottom, right?
And that's where we are.
Absolute rock fucking bottom. Well, no. Let me finish.
Gilded age.
They witnessed America at its absolute rock bottom during the Great Depression with the Dust Bowl and everything else. Like, America was, I think, in its worst condition it had ever been. They fought through it and got back to prosperity. You know, they went through the Great Depression, they went through the Second World War, and they came back seeing America during the 50s and the 60s, well, during the 50s mostly, at like the height of its prosperity. You know, these were people who sacrificed everything so that the next generation wouldn't have to suffer like they did.
Let's
But the
be
problem
the
was
next
their
greatest
kids.
generation.
Well, I know, Shirai, give me a sec. The problem is with the fucking boomers. They inherited everything that their parents fought and sacrificed for. And then, when the 60s came around, when they all started becoming fucking teenagers, these fuckers fucked it up for Gen X, for the millennials, and for Gen Z. Instead of working to put it towards the next generation like the greatest generation did, the fucking boomers selfishly sat on their fucking wealth and fucking set the system. And the problem is, too, the boomers are one of the largest generations this world has, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally called the baby boom because so many people, you know, we lost so many goddamn people during the Great Depression and the Second World War. They had to fucking bring the population back somehow, and they fucking tripled it. And the problem is with the boomers, there's so many of them, they outnumber the other generations. So they have oppressed the younger generations for a very long time. I mean,
know
you
this
look what
very well.
happened with them during... well, I'm saying... You get what I'm trying to say.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just, this is a bit of a...
No, you're fine. It's just... Listen, I share that same fucking frustration. Like, the you know, the fucking boomers are the worst fucking generation I feel like this
I don't
fucking world has dealt with.
want to hate anyone.
You know, they fucked over our parents. They fucked over us. And they're fucking over our younger siblings. And they're fucking over the children of the future with Gen Alpha. It's bad. They
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah?
Are you talking about the American context or?
You know, both American and honestly, if you think about it,
even
European.
in general. It honestly applies
Just
in
in
general.
general,
Even look at
honestly.
Japan. Dude, the 80s was the best time to be in Japan. Now, it kind of sucks in comparison.
It's a dystopian fucking nightmare. Like the
Japan's
average
been
Japanese
on the decline
person,
ever
even-
since, and they've never really bounced back. It's terrible.
And the sad thing is, with the Japanese work culture, the average Japanese person works so many fucking hours. They don't even have time. They don't even have
Maybe-
time to find a
Maybe
partner.
what we need is
They
a
don't
third
have
world
time.
war.
Nah, I don't know about that. I do
The only way
think
we could
we
wipe the
definitely
slate clean.
need.
Have some cute little three-headed babies or something.
Oh dear God. Listen, we already got Alabama providing that.
No, they
For
have
those in
flippers.
Alabama, that's a joke. For legal purposes, this is a joke.
Look, and I know I kind of had a bit of a thing there, and I know I kind of had a bit of a thing there, but look, all I'm saying is
She was joking about the World War III.
I'm not joking about this though.
I
Women.
speak.
Oh yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
Kiori. Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
you
I'm
go.
talking to Shirai.
Oh.
No, I want to hear what she has.
Oh,
Okay. Women. Nobody cares about your job.
That is true.
Nobody cares about your job. Your job, frankly, I don't know if I can say this on stream.
I
It
would
will
probably
result
avoid it.
in you having a very unfun interaction with a rope. Most likely.
What?
Um,
What about what? Where are we getting at here?
Razor, let's just say as a therapist,
I
I
don't
know.
want to use the stupid. I don't want to use the stupid YouTube-friendly garbage. Ugh, whatever. Anyways,
Razor,
you're not gonna last very long if you decide to
yeah,
do this.
yeah,
You are not
Kiori?
gonna be happy. And this basically goes to everyone. Plant a tree whose shade you will not live under.
Yes, so. Yes.
Leave something behind of value for once. Because they certainly aren't.
Yeah, I think it would be best off stream. I agree, Louis.
Now, based off Shirai's concerns and a similar level, I do share the same sentiment, but not in totality. I would like to preface this for those of you listening in on this podcast.
I'm sorry. I have a bit of a tendency to be a bit
Let
loud
us say-
sometimes.
Since our generation is pretty much on the ropes, especially in the context of Singapore. But for the Singapore context, it's more diverse. That's doing our generation in diverse social media and the moving away from traditional values. That's really doing our nation in. Since there's no one way to go about managing this. Have you ever considered taking up the mantle and doing some groundwork? Even though it's not going to make much of a difference, at least it's one of many seeds that will be planted to not only help this generation, but for the generation that comes after us. It can be something small. It can be an act of service, act of kindness, perhaps. Or maybe, let's say, starting a foundation that prioritizes mental health care. Or, let us say, even scholarship for people who can't afford something. You know, these small things can actually make a big difference in the world. Have you ever considered on doing that? Taking a small step? What's stopping you?
Well, this comes down to money at the end of the day. It's hard to really do it. much of anything, you know.
Mhm. As humans, we are confined to this time, to the finite realm. Life, by definition, is shit, and it's always going to be shit already. And if there's one thing therapy fails in, and I'm going to be honest with you as a therapist, therapy fails to address systemic issues that are responsible for the mental health crisis. And what we do is we try to get our clients to not only cope, but to develop mechanisms to better help them through these dark times. But that can only go so far. Let me give you an example. Let us say you have an individual who has been looking for a job, can't find a job, has a mental breakdown because of it, goes to see a therapist. What do you think a therapist would do to help the guy?
Probably just prescribe him some meds in some cases.
There we go. That's a psychiatrist. You recommend the guy to a psychiatrist, take some meds, pop the happy pill. Ooh, everything's hunky dory.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah,
and then
nah.
a few years later, after you're completely, past it, you double the dosage because you can't deal with it, and
I'm gonna say this as
You've
someone who
already
takes
started.
medication for anxiety and depression. The medication is only half of the equation. The other half is actually addressing the problems and working to overcome
At the
them.
root.
Yes. The
And that's why
medication helps with the chemical imbalance in your brain, but the therapy is more for. How would you put it, Kiori?
therapy is to help the clients, well, not really clients per se, but the individual process the emotions and their thoughts as and when they come. But for me in particular, I go a step further and I challenge my clients to identify practical measures they can take to move forward. And I also help train my clients to take risks, to consider their options, weigh the pros, weigh the cons. What do they want to do? How do they plan to proceed? Take the risk. What do you have to lose? Because nothing is without risk. Let's say if someone wants to move state or country, for a better life, is a risk you'll have to take. All right. If it means getting away from a dangerous situation, a hostile situation, you have to do it. A lot of therapists don't really deal with these issues in how do I put it? They don't really deal with these issues from a practical perspective. I've always been a practical individual, and that is why I actually have my clients confront things head on, while simultaneously managing the mental and emotional aspects of what they're going through. two birds with one stone. It cannot be separated. It cannot be one or the other. Because even in taking a risk, you're putting yourself through a lot of ball ache just to take that first step. Then after that, we have the aftermath to deal with. What comes after you take that risk? How do you plan to manage yourself emotionally and mentally after you have taken that step? Alrighty, so let us say you're switching states or switching countries. The one thing you have to manage with is the assimilation into a different culture. Alrighty, because the place where you're brought up in might have a different culture from the place you're moving to, and you have to get used to that. Assimilation is one thing, and knowing the social protocols of that region is another. How do you plan to settle yourself in? What are the challenges you think you might face? Then from there, we move on and we consider our options, try to develop a plan for the client, and we run with it. Practical steps, and whilst simultaneously dealing with the emotions and the thought processes of the client. I do apologize for leaning off tangent there.
Oh no,
you're
you're
good,
fine. You're
good.
fine.
Honestly, I really enjoy the conversation personally.
But the question I have for you guys is, how would you go about dealing with a systemic problem that is responsible for the mental health crisis we are in today? How would you go about dealing with that? Not only on an individual level, but also on a societal level. So let us say you have friends, you have family who might be going through some shit ass times.
Being there.
No job. Or let's say how to find a job. Depression kicks in. The potential for suicide also kicks in. And a lot of people don't like talking about this topic, but it has to be discussed. How would you manage it? If you cannot change the system, what can you do as a family member to help?
Be there. Talk. Ask them
Alrighty.
if there's anything they want to talk about.
Already.
You can't
So that's one.
necessarily help everybody because some people just refuse to be helped, but
That's also another issue.
I mean, the best you can do. It's like Shira said, be there. At
Some of the
least,
most
even if you
important-
can't physically help them, sometimes being somebody who someone can vent to, goes a long way.
some of the most
Yes,
important
sir.
words you can ask someone is just, "Are you okay?"
And honestly, for some people, acknowledgement goes a long way. There are people
Yes,
who
sir.
feel ignored, and if you give them at least some level of acknowledgement, it does go a long way for these people. They may not express it openly, but many of them personally, it matters a lot to them. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't very upfront with what they want. Many people will keep what they want to themselves.
Yes, sir.
And I will say people do definitely have a hard time expressing themselves,
They do.
especially now in the era of addiction to social media, addiction to television. streaming services and things like that. Many
And
people
pornography as well.
Pornography as well, unfortunately. Pornography is a huge issue. Now, do I think I feel weird talking about pornography, right? I do
Yeah.
think it is definitely a horrible habit, right? Because there are people who are so addicted to it, right? That
That is right.
it has ruined their ability to look at somebody with realistic expectations. And
That is
not
definitely
only
one of the symptoms.
that, it they have become so desensitized to the idea of sexual intercourse that when they actually do experience it, they feel
Nothing.
disappointed or they feel nothing, right? And
Yes.
it's just like any other addict. It's like with a drug addict. They're always trying to chase that feeling they got from their first high.
Yes, sir. But the question is, why is it do people become addicts in the first place?
Usually a form of escapism, I would say.
Yeah.
That is one of it.
Probably
Escapism.
because they just become used to it. You get that first
No.
high and you spend all your time chasing it.
But there is a bigger reason behind why people decide to become addicts. Abandonment, ostracism. People are actually ostracized from society.
It's not uncommon for addicts to be people who
Rejection.
have just kind of been kicked out of the world.
And the inability to how do I put it? Get a job.
Hold down a job, hold down any kind of stability, really.
Yes, sir. So let's say if the world is against them, the system is against them, they have nothing left. It's not a matter of escaping reality. It's more like trying to fill in this void within the heart. Something that'll actually give them meaning and purpose. It all boils down to meaning and purpose.
I feel like the biggest thing. I'm sorry if I'm cutting you off.
Nah, you're not.
The biggest thing I feel like people lack nowadays is definitely affection. So many people are looking for some type of affection, some type of.
That's where social
Everyone
media
wants
and Twitter and
acknowledgement.
TikTok comes into play. And the thing is with social media, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually have some world-class psychologists working with them, because the way they get people hooked
It's like a drug.
is the gambling. They leverage off the knowledge of gambling, implement it.
You talking like the gotcha games.
Yes, sir, pretty much. Essentially, you post something, you get a like, you get a view, you get a comment. Ooh, monkey brain goes, ooh, shiny, me want more.
Essentially,
Can I drop a bit of a hot take?
Yes. Bomb it.
I don't know for sure if
Send
this
it.
will piss Kiori off or not if I say this, but
me off.
psychology
Give it
was
a noise
one of
button.
the biggest mistakes that humanity ever made. Attempting to understand how people work has resulted in the psychological destruction of so many people.
I would say the
Wait.
people misusing psychology
The
is the
problem
biggest
is
mistake they can
the
have made.
thing is if they didn't know about, because the problem is that it's one of those things where if you know about it, you can utilize it. You
If
get
I
what
were to be
like,
honest, alright,
sorry.
I actually agree with Shiroi on some level. Because even though psychology has been used for good, it has been used to destroy life and nations. Propaganda, for example, political propaganda is is a form of psychological manipulation.
Or MK Ultra.
And I'm not offended at all by Shiroi's take. The question I have is it actually worth it to have had psychology being dealt with?
I feel like people
Or
are
would it
happier when
be
we did it,
better
though.
to have it, to just have had it buried altogether? Because it all started from Sigmund Freud, alright? He actually had noble intentions of using it to help people. But the way it went in all sorts of directions. All sorts of modalities came out as a result of it. And these modalities were used in keeping with the current times, the current era, the evolution of society, the advent of technology, even. And what it boiled down to is
Or just ask, doesn't Jung predate Freud?
no, Freud predicts Jung. Freud is, by definition, the OG, the godfather of psychology. He was a psychiatrist by trade, but he dared to tread where no angels dared to go. And
He was
his
definitely
lead,
controversial for his time.
but like it or not, even though his entire shtick was on the concept of psychosexual notions, even though it was controversial, it has its place in sexual assault and trauma. So those people who poo-pooed him, called him a pedo or whatever, as a trauma practitioner, as a practitioner of trauma-informed care, Freud has a lot to give. They have a lot to give with in regards to the understanding of patterns of abuse, sexual assault, why some victims actually continue the cycle of putting themselves in vulnerable positions, which actually happens.
My
It all
mother.
boils,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so it all boils down to, well, as cliche as it sounds, mommy and daddy issues, down to childhood sexual assault, something they experienced in the past drives this strange, perverse, psychological need to just find something they never really had in their parents in not so many words. But anyways, you were saying, boss.
Oh, I was gonna say, so my mother would always bring up, and Mom, I don't know if you're still watching, but hey, hello, Mom. I know she's definitely gonna be watching the VOD.
Hold on. Are you sure your mother will be all right if you're talking about this? I do apologize.
Oh no. She'll be fine because so I'm quoting her on something she has told me many times,
Let
and
me
I
hear
agree
it.
with her with this. Hurt people tend to hurt other people.
Misery loves company, as
true.
they say.
It's true. Yeah. And there are people who are in pain, and they will inflict that pain on others. This is how they are.
One thing that I've learned.
Now,
Oh, sorry.
that being said, I have no sympathy for those that go after children.
I agree.
And I'm going to be honest with you, predators of any kind, I have no sympathy for them. None.
Death is too good for
That,
them.
that was actually. I was actually talking to my pastor about this matter because it has been weighing on me quite substantially. And recently I started returning to church, and I asked him, as a Christian, I've always been pro-life. Only after I entered therapy, I became satisfied with the rationale behind the use of death as a punishment. I asked him, is it a sin to hold an opinion? Because the scriptures did talk about sins of the heart, i.e., if you feel like, how do I put it? If you look at a woman with lust in your eyes, you'll have committed adultery with her in your heart. If you harbor animosity against your brother, you have committed murder against him in your heart. So, for me, I take my faith and my spirituality very seriously. And this is one area I have a hard time grappling with as a psychotherapist. The tension between the helping profession, psychology, and what God demands of me as his servant. He asked me a very peculiar question. Have you been meditating on all that has been happening? Or have you been meditating solely on God? And for me, I do have a prayer life. I do read my Bible. And I do my best to meditate on God. But when you're confronted with all this, with all this evil that you hear from your clients' accounts, even though you meditate on God, you tend to fixate more on that which is bad. And that all boils down to humanity in general. The one thing the Judeo-Christian faith got right is human beings have been wired from the beginning to look at the bad and the evil, never the good. What are your views on this?
You're talking about like how humanity is naturally evil.
Yes, sir. And not only that, they are also programmed to view evil, to amplify it over the good.
You know what I'm going to say? With everything that's been going on in this world, everything that I've been witnessing, especially in the past 5 to 6 years, especially this past year, anyone who says that humans are naturally good, I am going to greatly disagree with that.
I beg to
I
go
feel
further and to call them delusional.
Mhm. I would say they're foolishly optimistic.
Mm. That's hard to see people, who've managed to.
Yes, sir.
Now, do I believe that people as a whole, do I think that the vast majority of people are bad?
Oh, gosh.
Here's the thing, right? I have more trust for people who are good people because they want to be a good person than I do people who are being good people because they want something out of it. Does that make any sense?
Too many people
That
don't
makes
really tend to expect a reward.
Now I'm going to ask you a philosophical question here. Define good. And by what standard of morality and goodness do we abide by?
I would say my definition of good. I would say someone who is, I mean, and not everyone's 100% perfect, right? We all have our flaws. That is being human, right? No, I think humans are naturally selfish creatures, right?
Yeah.
We are driven by wants and desires.
Mhm.
But I feel like my definition of being good is doing your best to overcome the negative traits of being human. So, doing your best to try to stay as honest and faithful as you possibly can. Trying your best to help those when given the opportunity. Someone who is willing to do at least one random act of kindness a day. At least do one positive thing to help the person next to them. And hoping that person pays it forward to the next person. A series of small positive actions that will eventually lead up to a significant change in the world.
Right. How about you, Shirai?
Well, I suppose I'd probably say it's not too far from Razor. I feel like at the end of the day, selflessness would perhaps define good most of all. Or maybe even acknowledging when one isn't good. Like
Self-reflection and agape.
Trying to understand. Because a lot of people tend to be a bit afraid to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You don't have a point there. Do not apologize, alright?
Oh, I
This
didn't
is the
apologize.
conversation.
I was just.
You said sorry. You did.
No, I said
Slip.
very.
Sora. I have another question for you. Define love. What is love? To love your neighbor as yourself. And how do you reconcile goodness with love? Are they the same? Are they different? Or would you consider them subsections of one another?
I would definitely say they do play off one another, and I believe that one cannot exist without the other.
There you go. Hold it right.
I would say love is definitely it is to respect one, right? To respect someone despite differences. They may have imperfections that you may not like. But I feel like love is looking past those imperfections, past those flaws, and respecting the person for who they truly are, right, on the inside.
But respect. Now here's where I'm gonna complicate things.
Although I
Respect
do
is one
believe,
thing. But what happens if respecting a person means they go the wrong way? So that means, let us say they have a lifestyle and you're like, you know, think about being you, you be you, you do you, whatever this new age rubbish is about. If you do that and the individual moves towards his or her destruction, is that really love?
Well,
If
that's
respect
certainly
is part of
enablement
love,
at that point.
there you go. There has to be the ability to offend someone in order for them to grow or to move out of this lifestyle in which they have embedded themselves. If you're unable to grow a pair of teeth, you won't be able to help yourself. If you're not able to have a sharp tongue, and this is where it gets complicated, people with sharp tongues have the ability to destroy others or to build up. But in order to build up others, you need to first cut them down just a little bit, just enough.
Need to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
Yes, exactly.
And we're making the mother of all omelets, Jack. Say.
oh my god.
I can't help it.
Anyways, do me a favor. Sujak deserve a VIP because of that statement he made. What is left? Oh baby, don't hurt me no more.
That was awful. Just
No,
plain
it's okay. It was funny.
awful.
Mr. Sujak, you are a man of culture. Very cultured indeed.
No, but I would definitely say. I mean, it's not just respect, right, for love. I
Love
would say it
cares.
also. It's also
Love doesn't just stop at I'll probably never see this person again.
Love is about affection. It is also about, how do I put it? It is about affection. It is about
Effort.
reformative correction. And that means offending people, offending the ones you love in order to make them better people. But it can also be something that is, how do I put it? That is mutually reciprocated. It's not just one way. And the best form of love, reciprocal love, is found in marriage, the covenant of marriage. And in order to build on that marriage, you'll need to argue with your loved ones from time to time. Don't let it get too pathological, not too out of control. But if you have enough tension, enough bickering, you'll be able to build your relationships on that. And a lot of people nowadays, pardon me for saying, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, it's they want to avoid that.
I agree.
They're like, I want to be happy.
Too many people these days are too afraid of having the difficult discussions, having conversations that are painful.
Exactly.
You know,
And that is
Here-
why.
life is.
And that's why
pain.
you see.
It is. Life
mean,
is suffering.
It's not even just about the suffering. It's you have to accept that pain in order to be able to actually live with it. Otherwise, you're just lying to yourself and pretending that everything is fine when nothing is okay right now.
I agree. Oh yeah, Louis also has a point. Many components to love. Like it or not, there are actually 7 different kinds of loves. But 4 of which are recognized by the Judeo-Christian faith. Agape, philia, storge, and eros. Eros is essentially the passion of the flesh. Essentially, fucking everyone, without any ounce of shame. Unabashed lust. You have agape, which is unconditional. Then when someone fucks up really bad, you're still there to pick them up, tend to them, tend to their wounds, correct them, they fall again, rinse and repeat. The one we have familial love. The another one is pragmatic love. I forgot which one is which, but they do fall in that order. Nowadays, when people say love, it's so muddied.
Oh yeah, and the problem is too. You now have a generation of young people who think that love and lust are one and the same. They are not.
The lust goes away one day. Love stays despite everything.
Lust fades and then regret follows.
There you
Love,
go. Now the
love
thing is,
is acknowledging
Sorry.
that your girlfriend poops and loving her despite that.
Oh my god.
oh,
Am I wrong though?
Oh. No,
Yeah.
no, you
You're
are
not thinking about
wrong.
that stuff when you're all lust, and it's in lust.
Oh my god.
I was, how do I put it? I wouldn't say I was baffled by the perverse statement uttered from the right honorable lady's mouth over here. But I would say it is definitely a spectacle to behold, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god.
Love
You know-
it.
And
Yeah.
it's definitely one of the better statements I've heard thus far. If anyone has the ability to clip that shit, you better do it now.
Oh, that was a great clip. That's clippable. No, but seriously though, like love is like oh god. What's the best way to put it? I'm trying to think of a clever, witty, funny way of putting it. It's kind of hard to top what Shiro just said.
It wasn't even me trying to be. It wasn't even me trying to be witty. It's me just stating a fact.
I think the best way to put it is, if you're a giant, you have a midget for a wife. Well, you don't care if she's a midget. She's still your wife. You love her. You do everything with her. She's just a little off the top.
Oh my god. Yeah,
That's how he tells.
she may have some shortcomings. Both figuratively and literally.
No. Ah, that was bad.
Oh my. uh, Love is having a severe allergy to peanut butter, but willing to die just to have one more taste.
That is true. To death till death do you part.
In that case, you're loving it to death.
My Chineseness is starting to kick in after that one.
No, I agree with Louis. Made a good point there. Love is basically loving the wholeness of the person in all their aspects, traits, characteristics, what have you. Yes, I agree.
And to see them to the end.
The problem I
Yes,
feel like
Hmm?
these damn dating apps have made people so
They're focused on the
cold.
superficial. There's no
Right?
conversation that happens. There's no love here. It's
They
just
treat it
people
like it's
stating stating their
like a
preferences
sport.
like they're at a freaking market buying something.
Well, the problem is with these damn dating apps too, right? Like they give people these unfair expectations. And you know what's funny? Here's the fucked up part. They may have been matched with somebody that they actually hit it off with, that they talked to for a fair bit, right? But they'll still find themselves going back to that dating app looking for people.
It's the apps are designed for. They're meant to make you
And
lonely.
it's addictive. They purposely make those apps addictive for people to use. And the thing is, I'm going to recommend this to people. If you really want somebody, try to like join a club or something. You know, go instead of using a dating app, go into a community and find like-minded people that you can click with.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, shit. If you like trains, go to a model train club. You'll probably find some girl who has this obsession with trains like you do. You don't know. Or you know, if you fucking, you know, if you're a gamer, go to a gaming convention. You'll probably find someone there. You know, it's you'd be surprised. I mean, shit, fucking, our friends Jamez and Viri, they met on the internet as friends originally. And now look at them, they're married and they live in this under the same roof together.
There you go.
You know? I feel like instead of looking for it, it'll find you.
That's, I think, a better bit of advice, honestly. Actively seeking it out certainly doesn't really help it too much.
Yeah.
It makes it more
If
likely that you're going to find something that you're not really interested in, or even just something that's may negatively affect you.
Here's what I've noticed. The more you try, like, the harder you try looking for love, the more it's going to evade you.
That's true.
Love will come to you in time.
That is
And
true.
in the meantime, you should focus on making yourself better.
No, that
Fix
having been said,
yourself. Fix yourself first. Before you start going and, you know, inheriting other people's problems.
have it. I have something else to ask. No, wait, not something else to ask. I actually have something to mention regarding people who go to dating apps, who are constantly having one night stands. Men and women who go about doing that are feeding in to this carnal desire, instant gratification, and instant gratification is a symptom of psychopathic behavior.
Oh.
Any individual who indulges in self gratification, regardless of the consequence of the other person or himself, is technically considered a psychopath.
Interesting.
Does
Now-
that mean that there's been a rise in psychopathy in recent years, or?
Yes, and manipulative behavior.
There have definitely been a lot of manipulators.
Manipulative behavior. Wait, manipulation is another trait found in psychopaths, not just narcissists, but psychopaths and sociopaths. The difference is psychopaths have no regard for consequences. Sociopaths do, but only towards themselves, but they are able to feel towards certain people. Psychopaths have no feelings whatsoever. All of them are manipulative, but in my opinion, psychopaths are far more dangerous.
I mean, yeah, look at Jeffrey Dahmer. Look at Ted Bundy.
Yes, it does.
As people are psychotic, they
I wonder if it has anything to do with how people are raised.
Yes, it does.
Jeffrey Dahmer definitely, like, his father enabled him.
It's not just the way people are raised. It's also the environment they grow up in, what values they've been exposed to. If an individual is exposed to a materialistic society that prioritizes individualism, self-gratification, wealth, fame, lack of moral values, lack of moral intuition, that is fertile ground for the breeding of a psychopath.
Entire generation of them, even.
As yes,
So let me ask you this: where do you think a narcissist falls under?
so a narcissist is essentially an individual who is okay. So a narcissist essentially predicates. So a narcissist predicates the entire personality on a lie, and they do everything within their power to maintain that lie, i.e., making themselves something they're not. They are not, making themselves bigger than they are meant to be.
They think that they're right.
Yes, exactly. They're manipulative. They thrive off chaos. They have you question your sanity. They gaslight the shit out of you.
Gaslighting is a classic move of the narcissist.
You see it a lot in the human community as well.
Prime narcissist. Look at Cinder. She's a prime example there.
You'll never be able to live without me. That's
Cinder?
what a narcissist will
Wait,
say.
S-I-N-D-R.
Sindr. Yes. Cinder. Remember what happened with her? She pretended to be everyone's friend for personal gain.
Oh, wait.
And then
Oh,
behind the scenes,
okay,
she was
okay. A different Cinder.
then behind the scenes, she was telling one of the biggest artists in the VTuber sphere to have exclusivity with Cinder and Cinder alone. While this artist was in the middle of working on a model for her friend Bao, and poor Bao was going through and is still going through some seriously bad medical problems. Like she has I don't want to get too much into it. And I feel uncomfortable talking about it, but let's say she's having some lady problems. And very bad medical woman problems. And is in excruciating pain. I've watched the 40-minute clip of her explaining her whole situation. I'm going to be honest with you. I teared up a bit. I felt really fucking horrible for her. But while she was going through all of this shit, all these, like, medical issues and a cancer scare and all this other shit, her fucking best friend, who she thought was her fucking best friend, they performed together on the same fucking stage at a convention around the same fucking time. This bitch had the audacity to go behind her fucking back and fuck her over. She worked so goddamn hard, saved so much goddamn money to afford this model, to update her whole design and everything for her community, only for it to be fucking canceled on her.
That would fall
that
more
is
under-
so messed up.
Yeah.
So if there were three, so we have three things here: narcissism, psychopathy, sociopathy, psychopathy. She would actually fall under psychopathy.
So you would
Like
say that Cinder follows under psychopathy.
So one of the people in my chat on YouTube is saying they appear to know quite a bit about things. They said here it is best to view psychopathy and sociopathy as another sort of tool some people have in their toolbox. Some of them just misuse this tool for evil ends.
It's true.
That is a very interesting take on it.
Like, okay, let me ask you this then, Kiori.
Because, give me a
go
moment. I do apologize. Because the way I was taught, they were each a personality disorder, not so much as a tool.
Well, not everybody has it, is the thing.
Sort of.
Like, that's kind of what they're going off of.
Wait, I have a
Like,
question.
apparently
Is this
a lot
guy?
of
Wait, I do apologize. Is this guy a fellow psychotherapist or?
I'm not totally aware, actually. Mouse, are you a psychotherapist, or...? They also said that a good amount of scientists, therapists, and other such people are or exhibit traits of socio or psychopathy. Surgeons,
Yes,
especially,
trait
and
is one thing.
morticians.
Morticians are very strange.
I admit, I've found the job fascinating.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would never do a mortician. I'm sorry.
My main
they
thing
just
is I don't
creep
know
me
if I
out.
could deal with. I don't know if I could deal with the gooey bits.
Just how they deal with like corpses so casually. It's very off-putting.
When you've been spending that much time around dead people, you start to just kind of business as usual.
You get conditioned to deal with it,
You know,
manage it.
there was a thing apparently that monks would do. I don't remember what the specific, where they specifically are from, but they would meditate over the decomposing corpse of a young, beautiful woman.
The fuck?
That's how they completely destroyed any and all carnal desire.
What
That is
the
dark. Anyway.
Yeah. It's basically the way that they learn that the physical is temporary and meaningless.
I mean, I would personally just take a cold shower, but that's just me.
The cold shower gives you nothing in the grand scheme of things. We're talking
No,
about
what
enlightenment, Razor.
No, I'm talking about like if you were
Higher planes.
if you're like pitching a tent and you don't want to, you don't want to enlist the aid of Mrs. Palm and her 5 lovely daughters. You know, cold shower is a good way to shake it off. That's all I'm gonna say.
Their hands are woman. That's kind of gay.
No,
So Jack,
I took that from the lyric of a British song called the Wanker Song. And literally in the chorus, it's "Oh, Mrs. Palm and your 5 lovely daughters."
Yeah.
Something. I forget. My knees have turned to water, and I think I'm going blind.
So Jack, so the difference between autism spectrum disorder and psychopathy is a personality disorder. ASD is a neurological disorder. That is the difference. One is neurological, one is personality. Anyways, Razor, you were about to say something.
I forget what I was going to say. I'm going to be honest with you.
Always. So,
No, that's not. I don't think that's the specific thing I remembered hearing about
Wait-
though. That wouldn't surprise
wait,
me as
was-
far as fables go.
Wasn't there a fucking Japanese fable? That's gonna sound off topic. Where like this woman, her maybe I shouldn't say this because my mother's watching, and I don't want to. We've already said some pretty crazy shit
Her
already.
lady bits bit
for
off
prosperity
other
reasons,
people's
my
manly
good
bits.
sir, honor thy father and thy mother.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into it. I'll save it for another day. Anywho.
They have a whole parade
Question.
about that one.
Oh,
What be
dear
thy
God.
next question, my good sir?
That is a
I
good
know what
question.
you're talking
Actually,
about,
we
Razor.
covered quite a bit here. So I feel like these questions are currently irrelevant. So we're gonna go into some lighter topics because we've been going pretty deep. So here's a couple quick fun questions here.
I have been enjoying the topic the conversation a great deal, by the way.
That's true. So you're a pipe smoker.
Oh my. Yes, I am.
What's your preferred brand of pipe?
Savinelli. It's an Italian pipe brand.
Sounds Italian.
Mate, I have 2 of them. I have a snub nose, and I have a Sherlock.
I like
You
a
gotta
Sherlock
have the
Holmes
Sherlock
pipe.
if you do pipe smoking. Let's be honest.
And
I'm gonna be
I-
honest with you. Oh, go ahead.
I also have an overly exaggerated church warden pipe that makes Gandalf's pipe look like chicken feet.
Oh my god, wow. I know there's a brand of pipe. I've gotten a pipe from them before, but I wanted to get the nicer, fancier ones, like the big Gandalf ones. It's called Shire pipes. And they're literally pipes designed to look like from the Lord of the Rings movies.
Strongest Sherlock fan
They-
versus weakest
they-
Gandalf enjoyer.
They're like beautifully handcrafted pipes, too.
Mate, have you seen my pipes before?
Yes, I have. You show me your pipes.
Oh, right. Oh, Razor, I didn't know you guys were so close.
Oh my god. I know one... Oh,
Psychoanalysis activated, darling. Suck it.
there is a pipe I'd like to get. Remember the movie Inglourious Bastards?
Man, to be fair, I've actually been sucking on these pipes for some time now. Still tastes amazing.
Oh my god. So you've been smoking pipe during this whole is what you're saying.
Why do you hear me coughing?
Oh, that's true. Ah, okay, yeah, the smoker's cough.
So essentially, I also make my own tobacco blend.
Yes, I
But I
remember
own-
this.
It's a lot healthier than using other stuff, I bet.
I
Pipe-
agree.
Pipe tobacco is definitely, like, smoking from a pipe is actually surprisingly the least damaging. Also, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like we need to make pipe smoking popular again, because I'm gonna be honest with you, vaping is just such a douchey, trashy...
It's really lame.
It's lame. I'm sorry, you look like you're smoking from a robot dick.
My honorable gentleman, have I permission to give my 2 cents on the matter?
Sure, what is your 2 cents on vaping?
These peasants who indulge in such toiletries know not the power and the elegance of pipe smoking. They are nothing but dust beneath my feet, without any ounce of culture whatsoever. Cheap peasants.
No, it's true. It's true. I
People didn't get
remember.
lung cancer back in the day. Just saying.
I went.
Wait, I do apologize
Go
for
ahead.
interjecting, my honorable gentleman, but I do need to add one more thing to the notion of individuals who smoke vapes. They're essentially smoking oils that are not meant for human consumption. Their lungs and their metabolism and their metabolic system were not meant to handle such degeneracies.
People have been suffering from vape sickness.
People have
From
been
vaping too
smoking
much.
stuff for so long, by
Mate.
the way. Like it's like one of the most common, it's one of those things that, like, across almost all cultures, somebody sat down and smoked something.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Oil-
vape juices, quote unquote, those are oils.
Oils and a whole bunch of other chemicals.
It's not good for you. Also, I hate vaping because, yeah, I'm gonna tell you, if you got a vapor, I've tried it a few times. If you got a vape that is not properly, like, made, you can burn your mouth. I have burned my mouth from really bad vape pens that weren't properly manufactured, and I would burn my
Now
mouth.
there's, however, one.
You're
quick-
essentially sucking in hot steam.
The only thing you should be smoking is varmints.
Yes.
Yeah, this is why I prefer to smoke cigars or pipe.
However, even though I agree with Razor, I do have some very close friends who smoke the vape. And they are not peasants. They're actually some of the most based idiots on the face of the earth. So I give them a pass. Some of my clients as well. They smoke vape, and alright, I'm gonna let in a little secret on you guys. Sometimes during my therapy, let's say if I'm doing online face-to-face, I do smoke the pipe when I'm counting.
Yeah, I hear you doing the whole, like, you know how, like, the lip smacking when you puff. I can hear it sometimes.
Mm.
When
Yes,
we're
sir.
I've never
when we're
smoked.
having our private conversations or when we're gaming together.
Yes, for sure. And if a client of mine needs to smoke, I'm okay. Maybe it's me being old-fashioned. I am of the view that if a client wants to smoke, give them the ability to do so. However, there is something that I noticed, and it is in keeping with what my supervisor has told me in relation to smoking. So, for context, my supervisor used to be an intelligence officer for the Singapore Police Force, very high-ranking official in law enforcement.
I gotta go use the restroom real quick. I'll be back in just a minute.
No worries.
Okay.
Darn. And he is called the walking warrant. They literally call him a walking warrant.
The walking warrant.
Yes, he says
Interesting
arrest.
name.
People are immediately arrested. Now in Singapore, there are two kinds of offenses. There is the arrestable offenses. That means any offense that is against the corpus, i.e., rape, murder, assault, affray. Those are arrestable offenses. You can be arrested without a warrant. Even being in possession of illicit imageries of children, that is an arrestable offense. That means you don't need a warrant. If an officer stumbles upon it, they can immediately put you into cuffs and haul you off.
Jesus. Actually, you know what? I feel like we need more of that because, like, you have. I feel like in the West. Oh no, it's not even a feeling. It's an absolute fact. In the West, they give these offenders. They give these predators. They're giving them too much leeway, and I feel like. I'm sorry, but actually, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not even gonna apologize.
Not apologize for it, eh?
I mean, literally, it says in the Bible, Jesus Christ, one of the most peaceful.
I know what you're on about.
History. Yeah. What was the exact passage again? I believe it was.
It is better for you. It is better for you to have a millstone tied around your neck and thrown into the depths of the ocean than to have you harm one of these little ones. Or drive them to sin.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Welcome back. That is one of my favorite passages right there. Like, you know,
however, from a theological perspective, you don't mind going a bit in depth, Razor.
No, you're fine. I'd also welcome back Shirai, if I hadn't said it.
It can bleed off into two areas. One, let us say if you're a pastor of a church and you're deliberately giving people what they want to hear rather than the truth, and they go into sin because of it, a pastor falls under that as well.
Well, that's
But
you
it
basically
also-
condemning people. Right? Sorry.
Not really. Condemning people is when you deliberately go against them, ostracize them, make a mockery out of them. That is condemnation. But to call out biblical truths in relation to the way people are behaving or going, you're calling out the action, you're calling for reform, you're not condemning. When you mean condemn, it means to judge. And we're not in the business of judging. But as people of faith, we do have to call out these issues for what they are. But for me, I'm of the view that if you don't have things in order within your own house. So let's say if you don't have certain sins settled within your life, you should not be allowed to call another person out on their sins, their shortcomings. That is my view. Hands down.
I agree.
No, I agree as well. It's
But there are certain things that are just so abhorrent, certain things that have the ability to destroy society from the inside out, that they have to be called out. I'm not going to go too much into detail due to the contentious nature of the topic on which I am discussing. But there are certain things that have to be called out, and there are certain things that have to be addressed for what it is. If it is not addressed, how the hell are you going to get society on the right track? And I think that's also one of the reasons why the US is declining, not only in terms of mental health, but societally. They seem to have perverted, and I'm not mentioning scriptures here, just wanted to clarify this with you guys. They have perverted what has been naturally ordained by God in terms of the family. They view family now as more of a, how do I put it?
an obstacle.
More of a chore, more of an obstacle. And the one way to unravel society is to destroy the family unit. Once you destroy the family unit, the children are destroyed. Once the children are destroyed, you won't have a society left. You won't have a nation to begin with.
Well, it's
One
like
thing-
Oh, go ahead, Shirai.
One thing that I've learned about what's it called? One thing that I've learned about people over the years is that when you take any kind of spiritualism out of the world, you know what I mean? Like when you take all spirituality out of it, one thing I've noticed, they tend to very quickly find something else to worship regardless. Like,
And you know what
Whether-
that something
whether
else
they-
is?
people are
Whether they realize it or
innately
not.
spiritual.
What is that, Shirai?
And they will gravitate towards something to believe in. I mean, look at communists, for example. They tend to outlaw all religions, and
Yes,
they worship
I agree.
communism, though. They have that tendency to worship it.
Well, they worship the state.
Yes.
I mean, look at Mao. Look at the cult of personality of Mao
Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il.
and Kim Jong Un. Like, North Korea is one big cult compound, is what it is.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but it's just that's just
If
how people are, and you can't fault them for it necessarily. But it's like, and I wouldn't fault them for it as a matter of fact. But it's a thing to keep in mind about them. You can take the spirituality out of the society, but you can't take the spirituality out of the people, and they'll gravitate towards something to worship.
I know. Now the question I have for you guys is, if you were to take out spirituality from one's life, what is the first thing they'll come to worship?
The flesh.
That is one.
I
not
would
only
say
that-
vanity.
Insanity, you say?
Vanity.
There you go.
They look inward.
Both of
at
you
that
are on
I feel
point.
like.
And there's where Shiroi has it. The right honorable lady has a point of order. People will start to worship themselves once you take God or spirituality out of the picture. And once an individual worships himself or herself, that is a breeding ground for personality disorders and mental health issues. Then it's not merely an issue of mental health at that point. Then you have the issue of philosophy coming into play, the issue with truth, the issue with relevance, with meaning, with purpose. You'll have to grapple with all of these things when you have someone worshiping themselves. And when you have someone who is reasonable calling them out for the insanity that is going on with these people, you know what's the first thing they'll do? They'll turn feral. They'll say, you speak about this aspect of me, you're speaking directly against me. They're making their point of worship a part of who they are as an individual. No, even worse, that point of worship is who they are as an individual. And it all boils down to a subjective morality at that point. From their perspective, they have the right to diss your god. They have the right to take a shit on you, to beat the shit out of you, to do whatever they want. And yet you don't have the right to do whatever you want to them. Naze datomo. Why is that the case?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you Naze datomo. Why is it the case that if you have an individual worshiping himself, has all these personality disorders, believes he or she can do whatever he or she wants to you, i.e. they can speak against your god, they can blaspheme your god, they can take a shit on what you do for a living, they can mock you, they can harm you, and yet you're not allowed to defend yourself. You're not allowed to stand up for yourself. You're not allowed to retaliate. You're not allowed to call them out for what they're doing. Why is that the case?
Because you have standards and they don't. Because you have
The thing is,
certain things that you believe in. And honestly, replying to them doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
The other thing with these people,
They
they
can have their false thoughts as much as they want.
the thing is, they do believe in something though. But the thing they believe in is themselves. And that is what's perpetuating this aggression towards those who at least have some semblance of logic and reason and sanity. You confront them with... Sorry, Razor, you first.
Oh no. I believe, well, part of it too is these people are so sure of themselves. They're so arrogant. They're so narcissistic that to approach them with logic and authority, right, is to completely shatter their self-image of themselves. And so they will lash out as a defense mechanism.
There we have it.
And that's why I don't deal in radicals. I am at this age now. Hitting my 30s, I have come to the point where I'm just like, I can't deal with radicals anymore. I don't deal in radicals. If you are going to try to, like, follow police me, like I had someone actually try to follow police me lately, and they were like, "Oh, you follow. Oh, why do you follow Kirsha? Why would you support someone so horrible?" And it's just like,
What's
this
the
is around the
point of
time the
this
bull.
question,
This is
no?
and this is around the time of the bullshit Vice articles that were quickly taken down 3 days later. So I guess those Vice articles weren't exactly truthful, now were they? I, instead of just debating with this person, instead of explaining myself, which I really don't feel like I should have to. I'm sorry, no. If you're not going to be willing to do the fucking research and form your own fucking opinion instead of go off what the fucking the mainstream journalist is gonna fucking tell you,
Lamestream media.
you are far fucking gone. I'm not gonna bother debating you because it's going to be one. It's just not good for your psyche.
Yeah.
Two, I have more important shit to worry about than having somebody get mad that I followed a particular person that they didn't like. So I was like, all right, well, so long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, say goodbye. And just me and my fucking staff, my friends who are, my moderators and things, agreed like, yep, he's gone. You've been voted off the island. Bye-bye.
Even better. I have a better response. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Well, there's that.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. We ain't gonna talk no more for you.
Oh, that's a great one. I like that one.
That's a good one. That's good.
No, but in all seriousness, we've come to this time now where it's like logic and reason have gone completely out the fucking window. I will say though,
that's the thing, what is logic anymore? What is reason? Where have those years of intercultural dialogue, intergenerational dialogue, where have they gone?
I think they
back in the day.
Oh, go ahead.
I think they went when the boomers kind of just left Gen X to sit at home all day.
I wouldn't even say Gen X.
Gen X actually still were able to do that. They were still able to do it.
The Gen X, I'm going to be honest with you, Gen X is a very capable generation. The thing is, though, Gen X and people, and there are a lot of young people who unfortunately confuse a Gen Xer with a boomer. Gen Xers are not boomers.
No, my parents are Gen X, so I don't.
My parents are Gen X too.
I would never accuse them of being
They
boomers.
were the first, and they were the first to get fucked by the boomers. And they tried to fight the boomers. They tried.
They didn't have the voting
Damn
power,
it, they tried. But man, the problem with the boomers, they outnumbered the Gen Xers.
They outnumber everyone.
They outnumber the past 3 generations.
Like,
combined.
we're in the middle of a population collapse right now, and it's just like,
Especially in Japan, unfortunately the Japanese, according to data, pardon me for saying, they might actually go the way of the dinosaurs.
Which is a shame because I enjoy Japan's culture. I enjoy their media. I think they're very creative people. I think they produce better shit than Hollywood. I'm going to be honest with you. Japan and Korea And you know what? I hate to admit it, even China have made better entertainment in the past decade
I
than
think Red Sun in the
anything
Sky.
that
I
has
think
come
that'll be
from
the song we play for this one.
yeah. No, seriously. Like, it has been better than half the shit that has come out of America. Now, I'll say Europe has done a fairly good job. There's been some really good European game developers, right? And they've come out with some absolute bangers. Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2, Baldur's Gate 3. They've come out with some good stuff.
One thing, like, that I'm kind of nervous about with, like, these things, and it's like, I think the only possible solution, and one thing that I've learned over the years about problems in the world and solutions is that there was no one thing that created the world that we live in, and there is no one thing that will create the new world that we will go on to live in, you know?
It's a combination of different factors
Well, that's the thing.
that creates
That's
the
the
system.
thing. But there's always this part of me that just thinks, maybe if you just got rid of the social safety net entirely, let everyone free fall, and if people survive, they survive. And then you take that money and instead you put it towards trying to invest in younger generations. Maybe that might actually help. Because it's like, they're trying to get the younger people to have kids when... You want to know why the Japanese don't have babies? They can't afford
Because yeah, not only that.
If they stop working, the society collapses.
Yes, it's too
Infrastructure
expensive.
collapses.
It's not even about the work as much as it's just like, you don't have the money to. You know, it's just... It's not sustainable.
Honestly, I have a controversial suggestion.
Let me hear it.
If they're trying to help with their birth rates, I think maybe for a short period of time, right? Give it like a decade. Give work visas to some blue-collar Westerners to help with the infrastructure.
I feel like...
So to relieve the pressure for a bit.
I'm gonna be honest, Razor, I despise that answer because that is only
I'm
going
not
to be
saying they're
kicking
going
the
to be
can down the
given
road.
permanent. They're not going to be given permanent residence. I'm
It's
saying.
not even about that, Razor. It's kicking the can down the road. This doesn't guarantee that people are suddenly gonna decide, oh, now I can have kids. Like, there's fundamental issues here. I think the only real possible way to do this is to just let the pyramid collapse and let the pieces fall where they may, you know? Because importing a workforce is not a substitute for a declining birth rate. It just means you're gonna have more people to feed in the future who also do not have children.
What do you think about it? That would create a collapse because, I mean, that's how Rome collapsed. It was a lack of social cohesion. The problem was with Rome. Rome brought in too many outsiders. And they outsourced a lot of their work to outsiders.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, I know that it would lead to, and I know that a lot of people would die if they got rid of the social safety net entirely. It's just like there's a part of me that it's me looking at this entire situation and realizing how many resources go in one thing and how many issues are present, and it's just like I don't know if there's any real other way to fix it other than to just send everything into free fall and just pray for the best.
Dude, Jack, if that's true, if they're gonna do a
I
singles
don't think a
tax in
singles
Japan,
tax is gonna work. It's not gonna do anything.
It's not gonna do anything because here's the problem: a lot of these employers over there, like the big corporations, do run quite a lot of the workforce, right? And
not only that, this tax might actually
It'll hurt people
cause
more
the
than
economic
anything
collapse.
else. It'll damage
Yeah.
things. Like, it's not suddenly gonna make
And it
some...
might cause social unrest, too.
Yeah, it's not gonna make some random Japanese guy decide, ah, man, I don't want to have to pay this singles tax. I should totally go and get a girlfriend. No, he's just gonna end up drowning it in slightly less
How is
beer
he
than he
gonna have
normally does.
time? How is he gonna have fucking time? That's like an American, right? If they started
Like,
giving
they need to
Americans
start
fat
cracking down on
tax.
things like black companies. There's a good recommendation. I know that black companies are like a lot of Japan's economy right now, but they're gonna have to do something.
Right. Well, it's like I said. It's like giving the average American the fucking fat tax, and it's like, well, how is that average American going to
That doesn't make a person want to
go
do it. It
go to
just
the
means that they're.
gym and all that shit and lose the weight when most Americans have to work 2 fucking jobs? Not only that,
You,
the healthy food is expensive as shit, and then the fucking cheap ass food is like horrible for you.
maybe
You
that
know?
is the truth, guys. Maybe that is the truth. A lot of people on YouTube are saying how it's all inevitable at this point, you know? And maybe that is fair. Maybe instead they should just begin preparing everybody for the worst and just saying, telling their older generations, your pensions aren't gonna be going as good as they used to be. Sorry.
They have it.
I mean, they're already looking at like shit. As a millennial, I'm already accepting the fact that I'm probably not going to be able to fucking retire.
And once I hit 60, put
Man,
a
you're not the
bullet
only
in
one.
me and just call it a day. Save us all some problems.
Yeah, either that or I'm looking to just
I'm not allowed to
Get
be
a-
old, come on!
either that or just I'm probably just going to pay a bunch of young people, give them aluminum baseball bats, and say, "All right, go ahead and bash my knees in."
Dang, you're not even
Call
gonna
that
make him
Nico
work.
Nico Lisa.
Not even gonna make him work for it. You just go in like the bad side of town, just be like, "Oh, everybody, I got a wallet full of ones."
Yeah, I want you to bash my Nico knees. And if the police ask, I'm gonna tell them it was
Hey, hold on. If the police ask, say it say it the way I would say it. I banged my fucking knee against the coffee table. Very painful.
I'm just gonna say I
I
fell
bite-
on the fucking steps.
Okay, be
No,
honest.
no, you know what we do? That is where we throw our pots and pans.
So is that how like oh god, I don't know how to say this without getting like. Is that
Just
how
say
like,
it.
all Chinese uncles sound? Or dads?
I don't
like
know.
Not always.
I'm sorry, but is it bad that when I play Gray Zone and the NPCs, the voice acting for them is so bad they sound like Uncle Roger?
I love Uncle Roger! We all love Uncle Roger! Uncle Roger is God's gift to us all!
I know, but I'm just saying they sound like evil Uncle Roger if like Uncle Roger took the terrorist route. Like if Uncle Roger just got into a point in his life where life was just too hard and he just said he's like man, my life too fucked up. I'm gonna be a terrorist now.
Bruh, I'm about to give you a big fat fuck you. I was drinking water just now. My fucking sinuses.
Wait, hold on.
Like his life got so bad, he's just he's like living in a bamboo shack out in the jungle with a straw hat and some cheap ass sandals made from like busted tires with a rusty AK.
I am going to hijack an aeroplane.
Oh my god!
We call it
I'm
something wrong.
I'm gonna crash it into the Burj Khalifa
We call it
in
the.
Minecraft.
Oh, you gotta add the in Minecraft there.
No, you have to put it in Minecraft. You need to be in the know.
Oh, I definitely wanna have it. If nothing else, I want a big stockpile of guns.
You were stung by B. Why weren't you stung by A?
And every morning after I wake up, I'm gonna go into the front yard and I'm gonna start sharpening my machete and spiked shoulder pads in direct view of the neighbors so that they know what's what when the bombs drop.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. If the nukes do start dropping in my lifetime, in the mushroom cloud shop, I'm just gonna put on the hockey pads, and then I'm just gonna say, "Witness me spray my mouth with the shiny shit,"
Come on, Razor! Legion!
and then
Take the Legion out!
grab the fucking spiked bat and just unga bunga, motherfucker.
You know what's funny?
You know what's gonna happen too? You know what's gonna be terrifying? You're gonna see a bunch of furries start a tribe, and they're gonna call themselves the Yif Yif Clan or something.
The Yiffers.
And then, like, here's what's gonna happen, right? There's gonna be some fucking normie. This poor bastard who's just looking for water. They're gonna grab him in the middle of the fucking wasteland, take him back to their fucking camp. They put him in a pit. And then, like, he's waiting for judgment. These motherfuckers got hoods and, like, animal masks. And they're like the elders. And then they're like, "What say you, elders? What we do to the outsider?" And then they look at him and they're like, "Yif him. The yiffening." And then they just start going, "Yif, yif, yif, yif." And the guy's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then they just, like, circle around him.
Mate, I think you and I would do well as a apocalyptic pair against.
That poor bastard's gonna look like a glazed donut by the end of it.
Look, all I'm saying, Razor. Legion. Just,
Oh no!
Just
So
think about
let
it,
me
okay?
get this straight.
Just think about it.
So.
Maybe. I don't know. As
Look,
long as you
I'll
don't cover
I'll
me
be the
in pitch,
reincarnation
then
of the
set me on
goddess
fire.
Athena to give you some kind of validity. You know, it'll be great.
Only if I get to be Joshua Graham.
Well, we need a Kaiser. Maybe we'll have Dax be Kaiser.
Maybe I'll be the fucking Kaiser, but
We're gonna have
instead of being a
Mexican Kaiser.
pussy that just... But instead
Reason.
of being the pussy that hides behind all of his men, I'll lead from the front.
There's a great level of significance in a laser Razor.
What were we gonna say, Keely?
You have a hockey pad.
No, I don't.
No, I'm just saying. For you, you're gonna get up in a hockey armor, a back with pikes. For me, very simple. Give me a sackcloth tunic. Give me a bamboo shaft. Something used for hanging coats.
Oh God.
Sharpen it into a pike.
Oh no, you're
And
gonna
on
be...
the other side, you have a butcher's, essentially one of those kitchen choppers,
Oh no.
and that is all I need. You and I against Yifs. Let's go.
Oh my
We'll
God.
win.
Lest we
The
forget
yes or
about
us.
the crucifixions. It'll be wonderful.
God, now I'm thinking with, like, the long stick with the hook at the end. I'm thinking to myself, oh God, they're gonna call him, like, the wasteland abortionist.
Well, I mean, I can do that as well.
Oh God, no! Don't do that! Don't do that!
Okay, I guess
That'd
if
be-
we're talking about weird stuff, I did. I don't know. I was thinking of a random cult idea a while back.
Oh God, what?
They worship
man.
bacteria.
Oh no, that actually.
The
oh,
Amoeba
no.
Knights. Amoeba Knights. They call it Amoeba
Yes,
Knights.
an entire
Oh my
cult
God.
that worships bacteria. The only glory that we as the unclean masses can achieve is to be consumed by them in death.
Oh my fucking God!
No hand
And you know
washing
what we
or
call them?
showers either.
Hey, yo,
Oh.
Shiva, you know what we call them?
What? I don't know.
We call them Amoeba Knights. Amoeba Knights.
Oh, Amoeba
Amoeba
Knights.
Knights. I'm
Oh
gonna keep
no!
that
You
in
know
mind.
what? I'm gonna be fucking honest with you. That's already starting because I feel like half my fucking county is Amoeba Knights.
My good sir, we call
Fucking smell horrible. Dude, I can't tell you how many customers come into my fucking job.
That's
I
what she
ring
said.
up, and they smell like garlic and piss. And it's horrible. It is the worst fucking smell. Oh my god, you want to throw up. It is the worst fucking smell. Ah, and these people look like they don't fucking shower. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, dollar store sells soap, right?
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, like, you know, they achieve universal oneness through being consumed by the holy bacteria, therefore joining with them.
Essentially imparting the foul smell upon these peasants.
Oh dear God! All right, so there were a couple there were several questions. I think I wrote too many questions. I actually underestimated how long.
For what it's worth, Fraser, we went on a lot of tangents, and they were very long tangents.
They were very good, productive ones, though.
Oh,
I feel like
so.
I feel like this. Honestly, I really enjoyed.
I'm sorry if I may have gotten a little bit passionate here and there.
Oh no, it's okay. Shira,
man, listen.
Listen, it's not a collab with you without you going into some type of schizoid rage. It's why the show's called Schizo Sessions.
Fair, but I do admit I was get a little bit.
Listen, I love passionate talks like that. That means you are full of conviction and you're definitely a very spirited individual. Nothing is keeping you from expressing your views and your opinions. And neither should you allow anyone or anything to hinder you from doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that, it is getting fairly late. It is like 1 in the morning.
I do apologize.
Oh no, it's okay. No, it's not your fault.
There's one thing I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
3 more questions. Is that a possibility?
Or
at least one more.
I could do one more. Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask. Where? Let's see. What do you have any upcoming projects you would like to plug?
What do you mean?
Like, you know, do you have any streams coming up with anybody? Do you have
think
any?
Like a legitimate question, you know.
Oh,
Not
legitimate
like
question.
No.
Not like the usual wrap-up stuff. Like, you know, we'll do that after.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Is that right, Curie?
Yeah, let me hear. I'll pull one up here.
Lord.
You know what? Go ahead and
Does my novel count as a project?
Yes, it does. So I know you're currently working on an alt history novel set during the Second World War.
It's pretty much. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. No, but the question was, you're currently working on an alternate history novel set during the Second World War in the South Pacific. What's the name of the novel? What's it about? And can you tell us any details you wish to share, such as like the setting and the main characters?
So the title of the novel is A Southern Story: The Lamentations of Saria and Her Children. It is essentially a historical novel, but so it's a historical novel that is situated in the middle of World War II. Well, pretty much in the middle and after World War II. It is presented from a first person's perspective. And it deals a lot with trauma, combat PTSD, and geopolitics. It is raw, it is visceral. And so the context is Saria is an island nation that is the size of Ukraine plus New York, situated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and the north was influenced by the British, south by the Japanese. Kiori happened to fall under the southeastern side of the island. And the story is predicated on the investigation of her death during World War II, i.e. during the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest, where she and a few hundred others were defending a series of trench lines. It is raw, it is visceral, and it brings you into the world of those who have lived through that era in real time. And the way it is portrayed, it does not pull any punches. There is a flashback of a veteran who committed suicide. There have been a few deaths involved. Throughout the course of this investigation, it ends with a trial. Apart from that, I'm not going to give you anything else. But yeah, Razor has read a bit of it. So has Megalum.
And
The best fiction makes you feel.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There was a lump in my throat, and I was very close to crying. It's very well written, and that's just from reading a few paragraphs. Kiori's a very good writer.
For those of you who are unaware, I also used to be a freelance copy editor before I became a psychotherapist. Used to do a lot of proofreading, editing out grammatical errors for publications, academic articles, and sermons, like it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's pretty
And also,
interesting, Kiori.
my father's also a
Does
professor
the
of
book
English
have a
language.
title yet?
It does. Southern Story, The Lamentations of Saraya and Her Children. So essentially World War II plays out exactly as it is, but there is the addition of a fictitious nation. There have been 2 publishers who are interested, but have not really tendered an offer due to how unconventional it is.
So you're looking for a publisher right now, is that it?
Okay, so hear me out. What if you proposed it to have you looked at
Maybe
maybe
self-publishing?
That is exactly what I'm planning to do. I'm actually planning
They
to
just
sell
put
it
it on
on my...
Amazon or something?
Oh,
Nice.
actually, you know who I could get you in touch with? One of our previous guests.
Who?
Blaine Lee Pardo. He is a science fiction author. He is part of an independent publishing company. I believe they're called... What was it? I think it was Wargate Books. I'll have to look at it. But maybe...
I think I know who you're on about. That bald guy in the plaid shirt. That guy, the one who wrote the Warhammer series, or...
Oh no! He wrote
Warframe.
he wrote he wrote the lore
Or
for
wait, no, not
Mech Warrior.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy.
BattleTech, yeah. I could see if maybe you could always approach him. He's a very approachable guy, actually, very friendly. You could always say to him, "Hey, because he always goes out of it. He's always looking for new people, new talent to."
Iron Age.
Yeah, the Iron Age. Yes. I don't know if you're familiar with the Iron Age movement, but the Iron Age movement is basically independent authors, filmmakers, comic book artists, tabletop and pen and paper RPG creators looking to provide alternatives in today's nerd culture from all the corporate slop. And he is part of that Iron Age movement. And I'm sure you'd definitely be interested in maybe helping you get your book published. That's just a suggestion. I know
It was pretty cool when we were streaming.
Oh yeah, and he's a big historian too, and he loves old history. So I'm sure if you had him read through your manuscript, he definitely would forward that to his publisher.
That can be arranged, but I haven't finished editing it yet. Would that be an issue?
Oh no, that wouldn't be an issue. I would maybe wait until it's edited and then submit it.
Make sure you put your best foot forward with these things.
Mm-hmm.
Not like there's a
Honestly-
time-sensitive aspect to it right now, at least.
Can be arranged. Honestly, Razor, you are a fucking legend.
Razor knows a lot of people.
I seem to have this knack for getting
I am-
connections with people. It's insane.
I'll be honest, Razor makes me extremely insecure with how, like, just capable he is of just... He brings on half the guests here. I've
Shirai,
brought on,
you're
like,
not the-
single digits of guests.
Shirai, listen. You're not the only one who feels that way. Tiferet has been surprised by what I can do. Akko has been surprised at who I can get a hold of. Freaking Rexworth. A lot of people have been surprised at who I can get a hold of. I mean, right now, I'm like... I have connections with Leaflet. I have connections with... I recently just got connections with one of the people from It's a Gundam's sphere of people. Yeah.
You just, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm wondering how long till you get somebody in the White House.
I have joked around with Shira. I said, one of these days, watch, I'm gonna end up getting the nuclear launch codes. I'm gonna talk the president into giving them to me.
One of these days, we're gonna bring the Donald on Schizzo sessions.
Oh god, wouldn't that be weird? That would be the weirdest shit. Oh my fucking god.
We're gonna have to get him to call us the best VTubers probably ever.
Now, I have a question.
Hmm?
You guys know how... Okay. You know how I end my therapy sessions?
How?
How's that?
How was today's schizo session for the two of you and for our lovely chats on both Shiroi's and Razor Wind stream?
I'd say it was well. It was good. I enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
I had a wonderful time. Honestly, I like having an excuse to talk about just philosophy.
Lost.
It's one of my favorite topics.
Honestly, what I would like to do, and I had this idea from maybe because how long is June here? How many more weeks do we have left? We have, Jesus, only 2 weeks left.
No, I'm not ready for my birthday.
When's your birthday?
26th.
Hold up.
Not in.
Happy birthday to you.
It's 2 weeks to where.
Birthday to you.
It's out of
Happy
season.
Birthday,
dear
dear
Shiroi. Happy birthday to you. How fucked are you now? How fucked are you now? How fucked are you now? You're surely fucked now.
I'm gonna be honest. My credit card declined at work today, so that's how fucked I am right now.
Oh dear God!
No!
I am so sorry.
Too soon. I'm so sorry for singing that shit.
Yeah, everyone in chat saying happy early birthday.
Thanks,
Man,
guys.
F for respect. Have
Bye.
a pineapple grenade in.
By the way, Kiori,
Hi.
in the next week or two, I want to do like a big PvP event where I get a bunch of VTubers to play Star Wars Battlefront 2, the classic one.
I don't have
And
that game.
oh, well, we can fix that.
Don't
We'll
you better
work
not.
something out.
Hey,
We'll
I'll
work
pack it.
something out.
We'll work something out. Well, no, it's dirt cheap on Steam. Just get a bunch of VTubers. Just a big team of VTubers
You know,
on VTubers.
or on our website.
Oh yeah, there's that too.
Will that
There's
even
that too.
work? Will that even?
I don't know.
Would that even be
But I
playable
think it'd be-
online?
That would be fun to do. I don't know. Play Star Wars Battlefront multiplayer, and it's just VTubers against VTubers.
VTubers being midgets.
VTubers be okay.
Oh yeah, I have a stupid question. Did my threats, my racial threats bleed through at all?
No, it did not actually.
didn't
No,
hear
I just
anything
had the
like that,
text
but-
at the bottom just as a precaution, because you know how some of the Twitch moderation team are. Fucking assholes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah.
So how was today's schizo session for you, Razor?
Oh, it was excellent. I had a good time.
What, your brain a little too hard?
No, you're fine. This is actually the average discussion I actually have with people in private conversations, so
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Alrighty.
definitely hope that the future is better at any rate. I know I talked a lot about how we're afraid of things, but I want to have faith that people can do better.
Yeah.
It all depends on their spirit.
Just gotta keep
Mhm.
saying it, and eventually people will believe it. Remember, history was made by LARPers. So let's pretend until it's true.
Mate, to be fair, I actually thought history was made by a group of midgets riding unicycles.
Wait, what?
Nah, it's made mostly by LARPers. All of the founding fathers are a bunch of wannabe
Oh,
philosophers
dear
trying to pretend that they're a dead nation. And then you take a look at the
Sorano.
funny mustache man who was trying to LARP as the weird short French guy who was trying to LARP as the guys who didn't wear pants, who I'm pretty sure was also inspired by the Greeks, but I don't know for sure on that one.
Soda.
My point is that we've been trying to emulate Rome for so long, and frankly, it's getting tiring.
Yep, and the more we try to emulate it, the more we fuck up. Ne?
Pretty much.
So,
It is what
Shira.
it is. You should do the wrap-up questions.
Yeah. So what do you have any besides the book? Is there anything you'd like to plug? Like when's your next stream? When do you normally stream? Where can people find you?
Oh. So my next stream would actually be not Sunday, because that's when I try to. That's actually when I go to church and just have it off. So either Saturday or Monday. And I gotta be honest, I've actually been working nearly 4 years without a proper rest. I'm actually taking a month off from.
Oh, jeez.
But you deserve. You deserve that rest.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that.
By the way, Shirai,
Hmm?
I have an idea of who we could raid.
Okay.
Like a-
Luminous Cove is currently live.
Oh, Lumi?
No.
Yeah,
Is she live on YouTube as well? Or I could make that a double raid.
she is live. She is. I think she is. She multi-streams. I know that.
Yeah, sure, why not? It's been a while. Honestly, I kind of
Alrighty.
wish I got more chances to hang around with Lumi. She seems cool, but I do admit, I find a lot of people to be very unapproachable, and it's never anything, intentional, but...
All right.
Yes, understand.
Let's see. Let's.
Let's see.
There we go. Lumi Ingwer channel. That's who she is on YouTube. I'm not a
Alright,
good
there we
friend because
go.
I always forget to follow everybody on everything.
It's okay. Raid message will just be Schizzo Raid.
Oops.
Also, I do suggest you consider having either another VTuber called Sidere on for the next Schizo session.
Sidere?
Yes, Sidere. She's actually a clinical, well, not clinical psychologist. She's a research psychologist.
Ooh.
VTuber. Or you can have Louis and I on the next round to just talk shit.
Oh, yeah, we could definitely do that, yeah. I'll keep that in mind. Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Anyways, I want to thank you for the for having me on. And guys, God
You're
bless you
welcome.
all. Have a good one and ciao.
Alright, see you guys. You all have a good one. See ya.
See you.